you to care. I know I've said it before, but all of our bridges burned down. I wasted my nights, you turned out the lights. Now I'm paralyzed, still stuck in that time when we called it love. But even the sun sets in paradise. I'm at a payphone trying to call home. All of my change I spent on you. Wherever time's gone, baby, it's all wrong. Where are the plans we made for two? If happy ever after did exist, all those fairy tales are full of it. Yeah, now I'm at a payphone. I hit my dinner in my bathtub, then I go to sex clubs, watching freaky people get it on. It doesn't make me nervous, if anything I'm restless. Yeah, I've been around and I've seen it all. I get home, I got the munchies, binging on my Twinkies, throw up in the tub and I go to sleep. And I drink up all my money, days and kinda lonely. You're gone and I gotta stay high all the time to keep you off my mind. Ooh, ooh, high all the time to keep you off my mind. Ooh, high all the time to keep you off my mind. Ooh, high all the time to keep you off my mind. Staying in my play pretend where the fun got no end. Oh, can't go home alone again. Need someone to numb the pain. Oh, staying in my play pretend where the fun got no end. Oh, can't go home alone again. Need someone to numb the pain. You're gone and I gotta stay high all the time to keep you off my mind. Ooh, high all the time to keep you off my mind. Ooh, high all the time to keep you off my mind. Ooh, high all the time to keep you off my mind.
Winter, now red, my bloody nose leaping. You're on your tippy toes, creeping around. It's beautiful, it's bittersweet. You're like a broken home to me. I take a shot of memories and black out like an empty street. I fill my days with the way you walk and fill my nights with broken dreams. I make up lies inside my head like one day you'll come back to me. Now I'm not holding on, not holding on. I'm just depressed that you're gone. Not holding on, not holding on. Beautiful mistakes I make inside my head. She's naked in my bed, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. I wouldn't take them back. I'm in love with the past, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. Da, 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 in my head, da, 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 in my bed, da, 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 ay, making beautiful mistakes. Da, 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 in my head, da, 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 in my bed, da, 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 ay, making beautiful mistakes. Full, I can't believe how every day gets worse for me. I take a break, I cut you off to keep myself from looking soft. I fill my nights with the way you was and still wake up with broken dreams. I make these lies inside my head feel like they're my reality. Now I'm not holding on, not holding on. I'm just depressed that you're gone. Not holding on, not holding on. Beautiful mistakes I make inside my head. She's naked in my bed, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. I wouldn't take them back. I'm in love with the past, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. Da, 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 in my head, da, 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 in my bed, da, 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 ay, making beautiful mistakes. Da, 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 in my head, da, 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 in my bed, da, 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 ay, making beautiful mistakes. Da, 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 ay, making beautiful mistakes. I caught it bad yesterday. You hit me with a call to your place. Ain't been out in a while anyway. Was hoping I could catch you throwing smiles in my face. Romantic talking, you don't even have to try. You're cute enough to play with me tonight. Looking at the table and I see the reason why. Baby, you live in the life, but baby, you ain't living right. Champagne and drinking with your friends. You live in the dark, but I cannot pretend. I'm not faced, only innocent. If being in your garden, you know that you can. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me in the morning, I'll be on the way. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me out by your name, I'll be on the way. Like hey, hey, I wanna sell what you're buying. I wanna feel on your lips in Hawaii, yeah. I want the jet lag from playing and flying. Put a smile on your mouth while I'm diving. Find me the sign of the times every time that I speak. A dime and a nine, it was mine every week. What a time and it's flying, that was shining on me. Now I can't leave, and now I'm acting hella elite. Never want.
Welcome in and welcome along. Most importantly, welcome back to a new season of EGFC. The Collegiate Season 4 kicks underway with Counter-Strike as the second to last series to begin. I'm Time to Light, joined alongside me is Tyler once more. And Tyler, a new season's upon us. Any expectations coming in to start things off?
I am just so excited to be here to have Counter-Strike back. You know, it's felt like such a long off season, and now that we're back with the school year, new teams, new players, and our favorite Tubby Muffin on Villanova is back on the roster. So obviously, I'm looking forward to seeing that. We've also added in UConn, which is who we're going to see here against Villanova, and we also have Weber State, RIT, and Bowling Green as new teams to the league. So we're very excited to see how these new teams fare. We've seen some pretty scary players on these rosters. So to see how they perform as a unit. I know UConn told us today that they've just been practicing together for a couple weeks at this point. So Villanova now with a full season under their belt, we're going to see how that all plays out for them.
Well, you can see here's our schedule for this week specifically, but into the game itself, it'll be Villanova University starting off on, I believe, the CT side. I believe the sides are incorrect because the team switched. Give me 2 seconds and I promise I'll fix it. Yeah, sides are switched. Bang, there we go. Magic. Love when that happens. Well, into the game. To start things off, Tyler, who's winning knife? I need a prediction. You got to start things off on the right foot.
We know it's going to be a knife. Wait, they're already in game, my friend. You got to remember
Yeah.
that. We
Who's
already
winning
knew that.
pistol? Sorry, I meant
Oh,
pistol.
pistol. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, knife round matters too. Well, I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3 under the Lose Lion, I'm gonna call it, going into here already. That's a huge answer from Tubby and Cheney and 88 tag,
Ooh.
3 for 3. But 1, 2, 3 coming in and get that double kill. This is now completely up for grabs with that bomb down. Who's gonna get that first?
At least gets it down, at least for the time being. The weirdest part is the fact it's a doubled up retake, not to be successful. Tyre on the backside of Construction, able to take down Cheney, and a Reshiram will fall as well. It is Yukon to pick up the pistol. Well, they've started things off on the right foot here as they've joined EGFC. At least their Counter-Strike team has.
Making a great first impression and great first statement, and we're going to see Villanova going for the more complete save with a double nade. Probably going to see something down banana or down mid. Looks like they're going for the B hold. While on the other hand, it's hard to tell. It looks like Yukon's just spreading out for that default. They're going to try to avoid those nades. Chunk down to Loverman there.
No way.
Falls down to the nade. That's like a great first pick. So then they have a little bit advantage, but there's still AKs and plenty of guns up on there with Tyne coming in and taking out our boy Tubby.
Yeah,
Pretty
with
good
Mr.
start for
Loverman
UConn
falling.
still.
With Mr. Loverman falling, it's just a Mac 10 down, so not the worst thing. A decent refrag, jump up and over, should be able to find a
Such
kill,
funny
and
players
does.
there.
Ty almost dying in that same right, but a whole hefty bit of utility available for the attacking side should leave them on the right foot. They also have a flank coming in through CT, and with the top orange hold, it's unsuccessful. Cheney will fall last this time rather than second to last, and Yukon win the second. On paper, though, that's the round they should win, and they do lose 2 weapons, but both of them were Mac 10s. They were able to recover the sole AK they lost.
Yeah, I really love the way that UConn played cover there. Nobody was left, out on an island. They were getting those refrags super quickly. And despite the fact that Villanova came out with those nades, obviously took down Loverman early and were really well set up to take on that push. UConn wasn't afraid to challenge. They went into it. They took that site, and obviously a pretty clean round to make up round 2. Now with Villanova on that buy round, we're going to see what this actual challenge is. And they've gone to this default setup, the 2-3 on the both sides of it, and UConn opting to play slow, still favoring that B site. So we're gonna see if these gun takes start to make sense for them.
Feel the aggression here for Villanova probably should be a little bit more prevalent. They have a weapon real equalization with JL, the only one on the back foot, and with Tubby Muffin falling, now they have the man advantage as well, starting things off extremely well, not only on the map, but in this round as a whole. They do try to swing onto A. It was an attempted fake, or at least an attempted flank, but either of them were unsuccessful, as you could say, aka tag up on top.
And with the bomb being left at T ramp, the timing for this is going to be a little bit off, but that fake did hold 2 players from the Villanova side onto that A, but you can see them starting to cheat over to B as the nades come in. And here comes the execution onto the site. 1-2-3 looking and misses that Yukon. Kwanya gets through, manages to get one. Reshiram goes down from new box area, and it's just 2 people left on the site against the 2 CTs from Villanova who are on the rotation waiting for that smoke to clear.
Carbon copy of our first round. Bomb planted, 2v2. However, Villanova taking a little bit more time to aggress this time around. One towards dark, another towards new boxes. They have to clear out both as they start to push forward. No utility available for the attacking side of UConn as they just look to just chill and wait for Villanova to swing them. You can see a first peek by Lion, a second around the backside. They'll find the headshot as well. They ironically didn't take out AKA Tag, which was luckily not their downfall off rip, but Villanova still fall off another retake and they're down 3-0.
I think even with that being said, like these rounds are the gun round obviously coming down to a 1v1 pretty close. And the same thing was true for that pistol one and then in a 2v2. So certainly no obvious skill differences at this point. And I'm pretty excited to see, how they continue to play these. But for the time being, Villanova back to that low light gun buy. You see a couple MP9s, which of course we know can be super, super deadly. So this is still a dangerous round for UConn, but obviously an advantage going in their favor.
Start things off here. What do you do if you're Villanova, Tyler? I mean, try and take close gunfights. Do you aggress as a team? Do you have a game plan, senor coach?
I mean, personally, I really like stacks. I mean, I'm pretty basic on this. Despite
Me
having
too.
played the game for as long as I have, there's still a very probably high pug mentality for here. But I mean, I think you see they're triggering some of the utility is triggering a rotation already from Villanova. They know that UConn obviously has had a lot of success on that B site, so they're cheating a lot over to there. But now that's going to give them the opening into arches. JL taking out Kwanye. So now Villanova has to deal with this split, and for those with armor, it's probably worth maybe saving those MP9s at this point because they're already fully on site and fully committed. And taking this without any long range weapons is going to be a real challenge.
And at this point, it's almost a certainty. Just to save, Villanova may be looking for a few exits, but the bomb gets planted. Second time is the charm, I suppose, there for UConn. But this should be a relatively clean round to finish things off. Maybe a little bit of economic damage done by Villanova. Nice spray from DS, but they will fall after finding only one. The P250 finding the second, but that's all it will indeed find. Reshiram only has a CZ, and not all that much to work off of. Well, hey, they've actually found an AK. They've made a sound cue, though, and he's dead. He's so dead. So very dead. Yep.
Oh, man. If only he hadn't jumped, I think he probably could have made that out. But, man, that timing almost worked really well. He could have popped down in mid and maybe gotten one, maybe two frags there. But, you know, there's a little bit of damage done there. Nothing wrong with taking an AK off the board when you can. UConn up 4-0 is going to put Villanova in kind of a difficult spot. You can see just by their money. They're in that position where, you know, they're fully bought minus some of the utility, and they've got to win a couple rounds here and start building up that bank, or they're going to be stuck in that purgatory, you know, where they just have the ability to buy some MP9s or FAMASs, and against those AKs, especially from what we've seen UConn is already capable of, that's going to be a recipe for a very difficult CT side.
And Villanova's defense has seemed a little stagnant at times. They don't really know what they want to do. Every so often you see a little bit of aggression that works out, like we saw in that second round save. Yeah, they picked up 2 kills, but it really was not round changing. Here you can see a bait setup around the Cubby side, shoulder peak setup with the M4, but DS just relegates that with that nade and the smoke combination. Not all that much they could do here on the Villanova defense, and you could see the retreat there from Cheney on towards the A side itself. The spray does about 50 damage. I don't know how they predicted Kwanye's position, but they continue to aggress. They do not clear the backside, but JL, second time around, will indeed be able to find the kill. Luckily, stays alive, but Kwanye finds the double. Loverman and Lion both fall, and the bomb sitting inside a spawn means do you go B here? Because the stack has arrived on the site itself.
Ooh, Kwanye putting the team on his back this time, getting that 3K, an excellent opening from him coming into this. However, because of that weird delay and the bomb being back at that T-ramp spot, the Villanova team set up on A. There's nobody there to defend B, and I don't think they've heard anything. Reshiram's starting to get a sense that maybe something's not quite right, but unfortunately that means they're going to be on a B retake, which is so difficult on this map. And they obviously have not had a huge positive outcome for them when it's come to a B retake, but they do have a player coming up from B, going to give them a couple different angles of attack and going to give them the best opportunity that they've had so far to retake this. However, there was 2 players in church. That's going to be really difficult. Reshiram able to take out 2, but he's not going to expect Divaso. Oh, DeSovo finds Reshiram, so now his location is known. Tubby tries to come in and revenge his teammate, doesn't find it. DeSovo clutching for UConn, bringing them up to 5-0.
It is such a smart bait and switch setup. You find the first, yeah, the refrag will be there, but you'll go 2 for 1 just about every day of the week in that scenario. You don't expect a second player, and UConn can build off of that because of that. Villanova are cut down, a valiant effort on the retake, but again, for the 3rd time in 5 rounds, they've lost a retake of B, and for the 3rd time in 3 rounds in terms of specifically B plants. It's not looking all that good for them off rip. Decent bit of damage done by that nade, about 30 between 2 players, but still not round changing, and it's another half-ish save kind of buy type thing, whatever you call this, with SMGs. I see a swag 7 and upgraded pistols.
Yeah, this is the exact situation that I was talking about. It's really easy to get stuck in those kind of purgatory style buy situations where you've got enough money to buy something, but not quite enough to buy something that you're comfortable with. And especially with the UConn team operating the way that they are right now, you can't afford to go into these situations without those nades and incendiaries. But 2 to Tubby Muffin. All right, I'll take that any day. JL taking out AKA tag on the other side. But Kwanye with the MP9, not bad for a half buy, and now an AK in the hands of Kwanye, especially after that 3K that he's coming off in the last round, could be big.
It's a round they should have no chance in winning, but now they have an AK, an MP9, and a way back into the site. There is an op and a smoke between them and the site itself, but they've thrown the smoke the wrong way. DeSovo finding a first and swinging onto the second is able to readjust for the second kill, and UConn are able to adjust their playstyle for the lackluster weaponry of Villanova, of which was somehow able to find efficacy. Nonetheless, a round lost for Nova, and UConn continue on their reign of terror, now 6 in a row on the attacking side, and Villanova, understandably, will call a timeout and slow things down just a wee bit.
That was the exact kind of round that Villanova needed. I mean, we weren't expecting them to take a win, considering the differences in the loadouts there, but able to get a couple kills, get a little bit more money in the bank, and you can see that reflected in the buy that they've already got. So now's a good time to take a pause. They're back in the saddle in terms of being able to put up a pretty good fight in terms at least of equipment on paper. So it's going to give them a chance to look at what's been going wrong, what's not worked very well. And I think what the biggest struggle has been is Nova knows that they're in this situation where UConn generally has had the advantage from the entry frags and the executions. Obviously, the bank also in their favor as well, and it's forcing Villanova to rotate early, which is working when they have that rotation. If the team is there, they're doing pretty good jobs of taking those early fights. The problem is that UConn is having this habit of either hanging somebody back or putting the bomb all the way back in T stairs and just kind of leaving that, whether that's on purpose or just kind of an afterthought as they try to go get those picks. It is creating that opportunity for a really late rotate. So now Villanova, instead of being in these defensive positions, are focused on the retake, which obviously, especially for a map like this, can be incredibly difficult depending on who's left alive. And DeSovo on the UConn side has created such a great niche for himself, at least in the last couple of rounds, with those couple of clutches, both with the 1v1s and the 2v2s. So UConn's in a great position. So we're going to have to see if Villanova can claw back right now, but they've definitely got to put a round on the board somewhere.
If they're going to do it, now's the time. You've just taken a decent bit of weaponry away from UConn, made them sweat just a little bit. In this situation, UConn still have that money advantage, as you talked about, but it's not great by any means. If they lose here, they'll be able to buy 4 rifles, maybe a 5th if Lion decides to take some concessions in terms of their armor. But it's not looking all that good by any means. Nova, if they win here, they find a way at least back into the half. I don't know about the map, but they can start to put pressure onto the UConn attack because they really haven't thus far in terms of maybe that round, possibly pistol, and the 3rd round in total. Other than that, 50% of the time, UConn's just chilling.
I think this is the first time Villanova's had an op so far, and Cheney making great use of that, taking out 1, 2, 3 right off the bat, which is exactly what they've been missing in previous attempts since that first round nade attack, or the second round nade attack, excuse me, doing pretty well. So now in this defensive position, it's going to give them a little bit more flexibility to slow things down, try to control the pace a little bit better. But UConn are already taking quite a bit of control, as well as nade directly to the face. So UConn, I think for the first time at an early round disadvantage.
Not a great start, but they're certainly still in this. The Molotov to push JL back a little bit, but the op is still set up, and Areshiram switching things up. It was the double op setup as well. Cheney finding the first, Areshiram with the second, and both sites under full control of Villanova. They have 3 players set up around this A side. That nade a little bit late. You could see the outline of JL, who falls second time around. It's down to tie in a 1 versus 5. The AK will find the first, but nothing more. I do not believe that op will be able to be retrieved, but the AK nonetheless will be picked up, and actually they do pick up an op, but it's not their own. It is indeed the other squad's, but nonetheless, Villanova pick up the round, and because of it, UConn not forced to save, but certainly forced to take some concessions in terms of weaponry. There are those 3 rifles I was talking about. Turns out a 4th is the AK and the 5th is the Galil, so not fully saving, but not fully buying either.
Turns out there were 3 keys to success for Villanova, and 2 of them were ops. So doing great, and that's continuing to create those early round advantages, taking JL down to less than half health. Those spam shots with the op through the wall is super dangerous, especially with those early aggressions that UConn's been focused on in Banana. So now with 4 of their players set up there, they're going for that smoke retake, and that might be enough to overcome the op, especially if they finally get that coffin smoke up that they've been missing in the last 2 rounds. A little bit of counter utility coming out. It's going to hold up UConn with 4 players on the Banana side. You're going to see a couple of them rotating, checking for the rotation through mid. Villanova opting for the more conservative side, but Lover almost finds his mark there. He's going to... that timing is going to take out Tubby as he goes for that early grenade. That's going to leave the 2 ops there. Cheney taking out the 1. That's the bomb. The bomb is down now in there, but it doesn't matter because DeSovo, even with the Galil, that so not pleasant weapon, manages to find 1. They're going to get that bomb down. That's all 4 players on the site, and they're just ripping Villanova apart one by one.
Ops never easy to retake with, and you could see AKA Tig taken out because they had a nade in their hand. A flank being set up through the church door, but it's not being fully pushed off of. They just want to slow things down. Nade out again, it costs somebody their life. But a rush room with only about 20 seconds or so to get on the bomb, even less to try and start the defuse, needs to retake with the op, and it's just not going to happen. You can see a rush room slowing things down, trying to get out, will at least find a first, wants to get out with the op in hand. It will not happen. The AK saved over. Mr. Leatherman almost certainly picking up the AWP, and UConn make it the Brazil 7-1 to open up our first map of the season.
I think with the weight of the kills on there, we saw Rushroom taking on 3 and Cheney on 1, both of those coming from that double op setup. So we know that that is at least something that's helping them a lot, right? You know, it's giving them the opportunity to win some of the battles that they were struggling with earlier and deal with some of the aggression that's there. So Cheney really got to take advantage of that. You're going to see Ty go down in mid. He's going to pull back and just focus on defending that A site. UConn a little bit less aggressive than they'd been in the past, but still very patient, very prepared to see what's going on. We saw obviously they adapted really well to those ops, came in and took that round pretty decisively despite Reshiram's end of round heroics there. So I think UConn has shown already that they're pretty well adapted depending on what the situation gives them.
I think they're aware that Kwanye is waiting under porch. I'm not sure if Kwanye has fully given away their position. The smoke towards mid has been heard at minimum by JL. But even then, UConn lose that opening kill, as you mentioned, and I don't think that Villanova are in the best scenario here. Again, talking about concessions, the FAMAS on the board, but still something they can work with. That Molotov will clear out Porch, and you can see Kwanye has to back away, but in looking to push onto Porch, they fall from that short position. Cheney able to take them away, and Villanova double up their man advantage, now triple as Kwanye finds one. Finally a refrag, but the question now remains, is it too little too late with only 2 left alive here for UConn? Looking to find another, and they find that as well.
Udisovo with that Tubby Muffin kill is going to force the Villanova team to keep their forces split, and that's just Reshiram left over in that church area waiting to see what's going to happen. But he's going to hear those grenades come in. He knows that they're both of the players there. We're going to see the bomb come down in the moment. 1, 2, 3, playing as safe as possible, but you can see the DeSovo's holding that the spawn rotation, moved away from that back into the barbecue place. So it's still technically in favor of Villanova, but we've seen them in these 2v2 situations do very well, and DeSovo blind takes it out. These their angles, their crossfire, just so good.
And it's forcing Villanova to split their attention on these retakes, and it never works out for them. Every time you see UConn in a 2vx scenario, either playing very close together, trying to catch them off guard, or playing extremely far apart and doing the exact same thing. In that situation, finding the first kill forced them to look around towards barbecue, but it was actually that pillar position that shut them down. Another round win for UConn, and Villanova seemingly with very few answers whatsoever, absolutely none on the B site, as they have still yet to retake that site in any effort in doing so. A well-placed fat flash off the backside of the mid wall to try and gain mid control, but it really wasn't being held down by Villanova, just making sure that your T's are crossed and your I's are indeed dotted.
Very impressed with UConn so far in the efforts that they've put forward here, despite even overcoming early round deficits, doing a lot of work to make sure they're kind of forcing themselves into the positions that they want to. Seeing that they have, I don't think, planted the bomb on A once yet, still getting through and able to cause quite a bit of damage, even when it's the more heavily decided site. Cheney pushes through, finds Loverman, goes down to Ty. JL is going to find Tubby, just leaving one left in church on the B site. Villanova at that half buy, not seeing the results that they were hoping for, but a couple players of low health on UConn gives them the opportunity to do say. Kwanye finding illusion, or sorry, 1, 2, 3 through that. JL stuck on site. It's not a bad situation for them to be in.
They can retake this. And they're going to try it as well. Kwanye forward, catching one off guard. Ty goes down towards the backside of pillar. They'll clear it out. JL only finds 2, not the third, at least not so easily. Kwanye looking to retrieve a rifle, but finally is able to pick one up. They look to retreat with the rifle in hand without a kit in hand and are unsuccessful in doing so. DeSovo able to find one more, and UConn able to find 9. At minimum, UConn will walk away from the half with a 3-round lead, but it looks to be significantly better at the current trajectory they're headed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the scoreline really reflects the results and efforts of Villanova. I mean, every single one of these rounds have been very close. There's just been a little bit of either a breakdown or just really great individual effort from UConn. I mean, we've seen that from DeSovo several times. JL rushing up and taking out Reshiram from the corner is going to give them maybe their first opening to get onto A side, but you can still see that there are people pushing towards that banana because they know where players are going to be. They're going to continue to push both sides, keep Villanova efforts spread so they don't have the opportunity to put up that stout defense that's going to give them the advantage.
JL, the next to fall, and now around towards the A site, they have to question what they want to do. You could see it's a combination of DeSovo and Ty meeting in mid and then both deciding, hey, B is indeed the call, at least at this point. But with two players set up on either site, you'd think that A would be a little bit more favorable for UConn. They can not only split the site and really take two different 4v1s, or they can take two different 2v1s and not force themselves into a possible crossfire that you can see is established by Villanova here on the B side, which that seems to be the call with 45 seconds. They want to go onto the site. One could be caught off in mid. Kwanye looking to peek around at the perfect time is able to find Mr. Loverman, and they know they're going B, but they left the bomb in banana.
Oh, that's going to give such a great opening for Villanova, but it also might be UConn's opportunity to swap the sites that they're attacking. They've done that several times. Doesn't seem like it. They're already out on the B sites, so they're going that direction. I'm a little surprised that despite the fact that both Tubby and Cheney had a pretty good amount of utility, they didn't really use much of that in the counter to slow things down, opting to just give it up and go for the retake. But the bomb is down in the middle of site. There are 3 players left. Make that 2 for AKA tag. Cheney and Kwanye West put that second round for Villanova on the board. It was a little scary, a little touch and go as all of those rounds have been, but excellent efforts by Villanova to make sure that they were able to double their rounds, get that second up there, and hopefully be on the way to make this a 6-9 half in favor of their side.
You know, if I do say so myself,
side, I guess.
that would be a pretty nice scoreline, Tyler. 6-9.
You know, it is something that we have noted. Thank you.
He's so tired of me. It's week 1. He's already tired of me. Villanova do have a way back into this.
Man.
Well,
they sure do.
Villanova, I feel the main and most important kill in that round is the one in mid to not only cut off the rotation and the 4th player making it over towards B, but that also gives the information to Villanova that B is the call. That late in a round, if you see somebody hauling ass from that A apartment side across from mid towards B, you know that B is indeed the play. And that was not only able to give the defenders that were already on the B site the information that, hey, they're about to start going onto the site itself, but it also allowed them to rotate, and quickly so. You could see how quickly the reinforcements were there for that Villanova defense, and most importantly, they were there in time before UConn really started their attack.
Yeah, and that's definitely been the just general difference maker. If Villanova is able to stack up a site and have people there and prepared to defend in the way that you would hope that they would, they've held up pretty well. Either they've slowed everybody down enough for the rest of the rotation, they've held on pretty well, gotten a couple multi kills, and have otherwise performed pretty well. But when they're forced into that late rotation, especially because UConn's been so good at holding people on site because of their late shifts and rotations, has so far worked in their favor quite a bit. But this is the first round UConn is not able to put in a substantive buy. So UConn's going to be at a slight disadvantage here in terms of their hardware. So Villanova really has to take over and make sure that they take advantage of what they've been given, get that 3rd round on the board, give them the opportunity to continue on that best possible scenario given the circumstances right now. And then when they switch sides, come back with an aggressive T side, basically just give UConn a taste of their own medicine and see if it can close it out. But UConn in a very comfortable position so far.
It's still a way back for Villanova, and by no means should their T side be awful, but it's still something they have to concern themselves with, that being, if we don't get such a good defensive half, how do we look as we head onto the T side? Here's the aggression from UConn. They have the weapon disadvantage, and they damn well know it. They head on towards short and pick up that op right off the bat. Illusion with another. It's 1-2-3 just holding W, and 1-2-3, they knock them down. 3 kills already going the way of UConn. Rifles be damned. They have a doubled up man advantage, and Villanova once more have to retake, and they opt not to do so. The op and the M4 will indeed be saved over, and UConn will reach double digits.
It was a tough round. I think UConn took advantage of Villanova kind of settling into that expectation of a relatively slow development as it had been in the previous 10 rounds or 11 rounds at this point. And they just got run down. Those Tech Nines still so deadly at mid range, especially when you've got a bunch of T-sided players running at you with them. And they just overtook the off. They knew that they were only playing one on that R side, ran around through, and Kwanye trying to do something from the A side, only able to pick up to Sovo, and that ultimately just gave a bunch of hardware over to UConn, and not much point in trying for that. JK forgetting maybe the updated bomb radius, taking quite a bit of damage there, but ultimately holding on to that up. So UConn's coming back into this probably in a much better position than they would have hoped for, with a bunch of extra hardware. Obviously, the win through a bomb is going to give them a bunch of extra cash. Villanova is still able to put together a pretty good buy, but you can see not as good as they would like. You got an MP9 and a couple of people without full utilities, and that's going to be a huge factor in being able to slow down this UConn aggression.
I think the most important part of that round is the fact that UConn didn't actually call a rush in any other round other than maybe the pistol. And there wasn't an expected notion of, hey, they have less weaponry than usual because of how much damage we did. We know they're going to save, we should expect aggression. And they didn't. And the op didn't hit the opening shot, it didn't hit the follow-up either. They lose and are really cut down because of it. Now into a full gun round, Villanova with that disadvantage in terms of hardware. You can see they had to fall off of the B site entirely after losing a kill over on towards A. There are 3 players stacked up on the wrong site, most importantly, and the B site has already fallen. It's been 35 seconds or 45 seconds now. They've lost the B site. They only have an M4 between the site itself and a plant, and that of which they cannot see because, well, there's a smoke.
There's a reason you want to favor that B site, and it's because this retake is so difficult, especially if you're only coming from that CT angle. We have 4 players all pushing towards Church right now, and that's going to give 1 to Tubby Muffin from JL, but there's still 4 players left on that site, and they've all got the crossfire. 1, 2, 3 takes out both Kwanye and Tubby. That's going to cut the Villanova numbers in half to 2, but they've got so few rounds. They've got to try for it. Ty taking out AKA Tag. Cheney trying to put the team on his back with that ob. He's going to go for Loverman in the back, but the timing is not right there, but maybe. Oh, no. Their rotations and their backup for their teammates, so good there. DeSovo, no fear whatsoever, knowing his teammates right behind him. That was a clinical round from UConn.
Oh, yeah, but UConn have now built up their economy once more. Back-to-back round wins off of keeping players alive and, most importantly, not having to spend money in that 12th round means they're in a pretty good spot. Villanova, again, are cut away. They are forced again onto concessions, this time in terms of not only kits, but full armor, of which really don't matter, considering it's mostly AKs and an op on this attacking side. But they don't have all that much utility to hold down the UConn attack, and their lack of utility has usually cost them.
Yeah, I mean, notably, one of the things absent largely just because of the cash fact is that there's not a lot of incendiaries going down in Banana, so they're basically UConn's had free reign of that so far. Very small amounts of utility damage done relative to holding that site. I mean, normally when you think about that, you're going to see anywhere from like the 200 to 300 utility damage by this point in time, and that's just not quite there. So UConn, again, having free reign over that B site. It's something where you got to start considering. I mean, it probably was a while ago that you want to start considering putting 3 players on B or cheating somewhere into Speedway just to give you a little bit more of a backstop against that. But DeSovo taking out Kwanye, trying to rotate through that Banana site. They're trying everything they can to get into these retakes, but nothing there. And UConn just continuing to lay down the damage.
UConn another relatively clean round, almost flawless, but JL falls. Honestly, really disappointed in JL. They've been dying a whole lot. 11 deaths in 14 rounds, really letting the team down. It's really cost them a whole host of rounds as well. All 2 of them they've lost. It's not looking... No, I'm kidding. But I feel the notion is that could cost them later on in the season when they play up against teams that are doing a little bit better. Maybe Marquette, the notable comeback from last season. But I don't know what to make of their current situation because, again, Villanova making 2 changes in terms of Cheney and... well, no, it is just Cheney in this one, because everybody else is still on the board from last season. They do have a new addition, Tyler, as you talked about, but not currently rostered, at least not currently playing as of right now.
Yes. So Cheney having a pretty strong impact as a new player, one of the higher ranks in terms of the paper statistics that are out there. But unsurprisingly, we see UConn go back to that B site. Well, they're hanging out in Banana right now, but we know how this is probably going to end with them committing to that site. However, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is the one time they're going to cheat back to the other side. They are going to run into 3 of the Villanova players, still opting to hold that 3-person formulation on the A site. But Loverman over on B is going to hold those 2 Villanova players there. JL running in, getting that opening kill on Zaquanye. Cheney able to throw down that molly, slow down the aggression, and find one. They're still playing back from that arches, so unfortunately, AKA Tag trying to play from pit, just not a lot that they can do from that. And DeSovo coming in once again with that op's going to take out Cheney, and that's going to leave just Reshiram with that Mag 7, and then one more with that LMG with Tubby trying to do something in this 15th round. They don't have the option to save anymore, so they're going to go through and do whatever they possibly can. And who knows? I mean, we've seen LMGs do some pretty wild things in the past.
Well, it almost finds one. Reshiram does a decent bit of damage across, but unable to find the full kill. And UConn able to find yet another round win. It was another round and another retake forced for Villanova. Unfortunately, they couldn't do anything this time around. A site couldn't be taken. I don't think there's a single round in which they were successfully able to defuse the bomb. No, there's not. They won their 2 rounds off of kills, one of which was a surprise to say the very least. The following, a wild one. And now as they switch sides and the name switch, thank you very much, Counter-Strike. Well, you look at Villanova and you say, this has to be a pistol round victory, or you probably immediately lose the map.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then you go back and you start thinking about we're going to go to Vertigo next, where they're going to have an opportunity to show off once again. And these dualies come in; they're so deadly sometimes. JL able to find out Tubby Muffin, but Villanova able to overcome the 2 players there. There's one more left on site for them to take. They're going to find them. AKA Tag coming in, just gets a quick shot onto Loverman.
Hello.
Cheney, long distance kill onto 1, 2, 3 there, and that's going to give them that pistol round that they so desperately need. However, this is still quite the mountain to climb for Villanova, but that starts with that 3rd round going up on the board and see what they can do from there.
Baby steps, they say, Tyler, and, well, Ty into this 1v4 is found the first. Reshiram, however, will take them out. No more headshots found, no more kills either. Therefore, the clutcher, an attempted clutch, but an unsuccessful one nonetheless. Villanova win their 3rd. They're able to walk away with a pistol round victory on this T side, and at least to start bringing themselves back into this. UConn, I don't think are going to buy all that much, but as I say that, they decide, oh yeah, let's just invest into upgraded pistols and Mag 7.
2, baby.
Because why not? Go for it.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of rounds to play with.
Now, the question is whether Villanova is going to expect this, and if they do, they're going to be prepared for it, but if not, they could be running directly into the crosshairs of that Mag 7 or those deagles, which can be so dangerous on their own. UConn, again, they're playing with a pretty stacked deck at this point, right? They've got plenty of rounds to work with. They're not really concerned about, giving up a couple of their light buy rounds. So this one is particularly important for Villanova because if they win this, then they're going to maybe get 1 or 2 free rounds back from UConn before they're able to fully buy. But if they don't go the other way, that's a devastating loss. However, not giving them those long distance fights are going to keep at least one of the deagles out of play under JL, and the Mag 7 is down. So it's going to give them just pistols, but a 2-person advantage as well on the side of Villanova. So they're going in for this B rotate. They're still trying to find that one last player on site. They'll find him shortly. And before the damage goes down, nothing to DeSovo, to the investment that they have. So now it's just 1, 2, 3, and Ty left. And opting, it looks like, to save the deagle.
Yeah, and understandably so. You saw DeSovo there facing up against a full rifle set firing squad. No real way to win that with a pistol in your back pocket. And now looking to just possibly save your armor, save your pistols, hold the phone. It's now a 2 versus 2. There's only one person on the site. AKA Tag is the only one able to hold things down. They've retrieved the MP5 SD and the AK, but they're not going for it. They don't have the kit to host it, and that could cost them. There's Cheney on the flank with the Galil looking to now recover the AK that was dropped of prior. Illusion now looking to swing. 1, 2, 3 is able to find a second. They should be able to save over that AK as well, and they will indeed. So UConn lose it, but they did a lot better than I thought they were.
That was much closer, as you said, than I would have anticipated being. So props to UConn for being able to make that an incredibly expensive round. So those free rounds that I talked about from losing that are not as guaranteed as they would have been, or at least not as comfortably. So we see Villanova is starting to upgrade all to AKs. We still have pistols with that one hero AK on the side of UConn. Villanova up to 4 rounds. So, I mean, they're putting together a little bit more here. They're getting a little bit of confidence under them, but UConn still with the extreme advantage. And 1-2-3 with that AK could do quite a bit of damage before Villanova is able to get everything through. This time, it's notable that UConn is playing 4 on that A site. So if Villanova steps things up, if they find a little bit of info, you're going to know that that one person is on B and try to take advantage of that. But you have to be so careful because UConn obviously proving themselves to be incredibly deadly, regardless of what's in their hands. So we see JL pushing out to try to get a little bit of information.
What?
Able to find that too with the pistols. I mean, those flanks are super deadly. They do have a lot less, and now the UConn team is going to be aware of the fact that there are people coming behind them. 1-2-3 is on site with the AK. He's going to do quite a bit of damage there. Finding Tubby almost gets a second, but Reshiram able to shut him down. That is, however, 2 players on the Villanova side with less than 50 health, and 3 players left on the side of UConn. All 2 with AKs and a pistol, which doesn't seem to matter. Loverman coming in, finding that one there, pushing through. AKA tag tries their best, finds JL, isn't enough to take that 5th round.
Out of all the rounds that were going to be picked up in this half by UConn, they do it off the back of a pistol rush out of apartments because they split the attention of the Villanova stack and were able to pick up both AKs. Out of all the ways they were going to win that is the way they pick it up. An insane way, nonetheless. UConn are able to pick up said first round of the half and now retrieve some rifles. Villanova forced to save, mostly. They have a minimum loss bonus as it stands. They'll have a second loss bonus of $1,900 per player should they lose here. And on paper, they should, by a fairly far margin, lose in this round. But we've seen crazier things, I don't know, maybe last round?
Yeah, I mean, economically speaking, this is probably the nightmare scenario for Villanova to be in. You know, they, like you said, have minimal loss bonuses coming off from that. Oh no, Loverman comes in off of a great flash from DeSovo, takes out 3 from Villanova, and almost guarantees that this round is sealed for the side of UConn, meaning they're going to go up to 15 and match point.
Mr. Loverman mollied off by DeSovo, but this is still looking to be a relatively clean round. Deagle left over is now taken out, and it's just the Tech 9 remaining of Reshiram sitting towards wood, and they're well aware of his position. The smoke dissipates, as does Reshiram's health bar. UConn find map point already.
And again, I don't think that UConn has entirely shut out Villanova from a lot of these rounds. I mean, they've been competitive. They're going back and forth. They're finding frags. They're trading. They're doing an excellent job. I think UConn is just generally, you know, certainly playing off of that T side advantage that they started with, which just again goes back to how well they were able to split the Villanova defenses throughout that. It's just giving them a lot more to work with on a map that obviously is going to favor the CT side already. So UConn getting more aggressive, just going and getting ready to shut this down, while Villanova is doing the best that they can to make the best out of what they have to offer, which not a lot at this point, but it is something that they could potentially, you know, call back a couple more rounds. And ultimately, when we think about, you know, standings in the grand scheme of the league, the rounds do matter. We do play this best of 2 format, so every round they can get is going to matter when the standings as we go down the line. So even if we're not playing for the map at this point, which Villanova of course still is, the more rounds that they get before they see that 16th click on the side of UConn is super important.
The question now remains, can they get any more than, well, what they're currently at, that being 4? I've seen the whatever number they currently have is all they get. Maybe 15 is all UConn gets, but that seems to not be the case. You can see just 2 for 1 on that A side. A swing from behind for Ty, also finding a kill of their own. And now the cut down of seemingly everything. Reshiram left in a 1 versus 4. Not gonna happen. UConn wins 16-4 in their first map of EGFC, not only here in the season, but overall, a clean and clear, defined victory as they walk away with a pretty good win.
Huge opening statement from UConn. Of course, they've still got one more app to do a little bit more speaking of whatever that ends up looking like. We're going to move to Vertigo coming up next. Villanova was their map choice. We saw them do very well on this over the course of season 3. So interested to see what they're kind of bringing into this, and they're going to start on that T side. So we're hoping that we're going to see a little bit more from those than those A ramp battles that tend to develop on Vertigo. We've seen some really interesting, if not, we'll say, peculiar strategies out of teams over the last 16 weeks in season 3. So we'll see how that goes together. But I am very curious to see how UConn plays this. What Villanova has changed, like we talked about, there's only 2 new players on the squad, so most of that team intact from last season, and very excited to see how they've developed over the course, really over the summer.
Well, with UConn, only a few weeks practice required, apparently, to oust Villanova on their own map pick. Starting things off with a victory and a clean one at that. We'll see if they can continue said trend as we head on to Vertigo, and Villanova look to even up the series as the best of 2 continues. But first, a break. We'll see in a bit.
Play pretend where the fun got no end. Oh, can't go home alone again. Need someone to numb the pain. Oh, staying in my play pretend where the fun got no end. Oh, can't go home alone again. Need someone to numb the pain. You're gone and I gotta stay high all the time to keep you off my mind. Ooh, high all the time to keep you off my mind. High all the time to keep you off my mind. High all the time to keep you off my mind. White shirt, now red, my bloody nose sleeping. You're on your tippy toes, creeping around like no one knows. Think you're so criminal. Bruises on both my knees for you. Don't say thank you or please. I do what I want when I'm wanting to. My soul so cynical. So you're a tough guy, like it's really rough guy. Just can't get enough guy. Just always a tough guy. I'm the bad type, make your mama sad type, make your girlfriend mad type. I take tissue that type. I'm the bad guy. It's better to take control, even if you know that you don't own me. I'll let you play the role. I'll be your animal. My mommy likes to sing along with me, but she won't sing a song if she reads all the lyrics. She'll pity the man I know. So you're a tough guy, like it's really rough guy. Just can't get enough guy, just always a tough guy. I'm the bad type, make your mama sad type, make your girlfriend mad type. I take tissue that type. I'm the bad guy.
It's beautiful, it's bittersweet. You're like a broken home to me. I take a shot of memories and black out like an empty street. I fill my days with the way you walk and fill my nights with broken dreams. I make up lies inside my head like one day you'll come back to me. Now I'm not holding on, not holding on. I'm just depressed that you're gone. Not holding on, not holding on. Beautiful mistakes I make inside my head. She's naked in my bed, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. I wouldn't take them back. I'm in love with the past, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. In my head, in my bed, making beautiful mistakes. In my head, in my bed, making beautiful mistakes. Full, I can't believe how every day gets worse for me. I take a break, I cut you off to keep myself from looking stuff. I fill my nights with the way you was and still wake up with broken dreams. I make these lies inside my head feel like they're my reality. Now I'm not holding on, not holding on. I'm just depressed that you're gone. Not holding on, not holding on. Beautiful mistakes I make inside my head. She's naked in my bed, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. I wouldn't take them back. I'm in love with the past, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. In my head, in my bed, making beautiful mistakes. In my head, in my bed, making beautiful mistakes. Making beautiful mistakes. I caught it bad yesterday. You hit me with a call to your place. Ain't been out in a while anyway. Was hoping I could catch you throwing smiles in my face. Romantic talking, you don't even have to try. You're cute enough to play with me tonight. Looking at the table and I see the reason why. Baby, you live in the life, but baby, you ain't living right. Champagne and drinking with your friends. You live in the dark, but I cannot pretend. I'm not faced, only innocent. If being in your garden, you know that you can. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me in the morning, I'll be on the way. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me out by your name, I'll be on the way. Like I wanna sell what you're buying. I wanna feel on your lips in Hawaii. I want the jet lag from playing and flying. Put a smile on your mouth while I'm driving. By me, the sign of the times every time that I speak. A dime and a nine, it was mine every week. What a time and it's flying, that was shining on me. Now I can't leave. And now I'm acting hella elite. Never want the bitches that's in my league. I only want the ones I envy, I envy. Champagne and drinking with your friends. You live in the dark, but I cannot pretend. I'm not faced, only innocent. If being in your garden, you know that you can. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me in the morning, I'll be on the way. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me up by your name, I'll be on the way. Like, call me by your name and tell me you love me in private. Call me by your name. I do not care if you're lying. When you want me, call me, I'll drop everything. Don't need your name, cause I don't have to say it. Fuck it, let's ride. Fuck it, let's ride. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me in the morning, I'll be on the way. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me up by your name, I'll be on the way. Like I just need to get it off my chest. Yeah, more than you know. Yeah, more than you know. You should know it, baby, you're the best. Yeah, more than you know. Yeah, more was hot from summer rain, sweat dripping off me. Before I even knew her name, la la la. It felt like ooh la la la, yeah. Oh, sapphire moonlight. We danced for hours in the sand, tequila sunrise. Her body fit right in my hands, la la la.
Cause you know it's been a long time coming, don't you let me fall.
Oh, how your lips undress me, hooked on your tongue. Oh, love, your kisses deadly, don't stop. I love it when you call me señorita. I wish I could pretend I didn't need you, but every touch is ooh la la la. It's true la la la. Oh, I should be running. Oh, you know I love it when you call me señorita. I wish you.
Map number 1 goes the way of Yukon, but into Vertigo now is where Villanova need to be able to come back in this best of 2, our only second map, nothing more, nothing less here as Villanova look to retake. And Time to Light still joining alongside me, Viking and Tyler. Any expectations for Nova to try and switch things up?
I mean, it is their map pick, so we're gonna assume that they're gonna feel more comfortable on this, or at least have a renewed sense of confidence coming back into it. UConn obviously had a big round deficit coming out of the T side. This time they're going to be starting on the CT side, which is going to give them the opportunity to again set the pace, really set what they expect from Villanova in terms of their responses. And Villanova this time around going for contact play, it looks like, and they're going to go hard into sight now. There's going to just kind of overrun it. They're going to get that opening kill with Sovo going out by Tubby Muffin. Loverman able to come back. 1, 2, 3, taking out AKA tag. These are kills all going in favor of UConn. That quick rotation's coming in. Now it's just Cheney fighting for his life against 4 players. Finds 1, 2.
Oh, doesn't expect the third, though. It doesn't matter! Hold the phone, he still got this. 1 versus 1. Apparently a duel of the round, but luckily 1, 2, 3 is able to pick it up. A wild pistol. They didn't clear out sandbags nor the backside of scaffolding, so it could have gone either way. If Villanova found those opening 2 kills and really then push onto the site, it would have been their round. But the lack of crossing your T's, dotting your I's, your due diligence not being there cost them that. It was almost brought back. Valiant effort from Cheney, just the final shot not hit and them being so low HP, not even a headshot was required to take him out.
Cheney is the newest player to the Villanova side, absolutely proving their worth here. Now, as we see UConn go into a more default setup, they're going to be buying several M4s and their FAMASs, so they're well equipped to take on this. And we see a little bit of an upgrade on the side of Villanova, opting to force into this. That is round end heroics from Cheney. They're giving them a little bit more room. Ty finds AKA tag and Cheney going down for 1. These trades coming in very quickly, going up this A ramp site. Tubby's going to have to check all different kinds of angles, and he's, oh, the timing.
Does turn around.
Oh,
and does find
those
one,
crossfires.
It's chaos. Welcome to Counter-Strike, unfortunately, here, Villanova. Not much they could have done overall. They did try and buy up. Hold the phone. Kwanye has just caught DS Ovo with their pants down, and a FAMAS has now been retrieved. A 1v2 certainly possible with the lackluster rifling in their hand, but both players watching the heaven position means 1, 2, 3 will inevitably get the kill, and UConn will indeed pick up their second round, however, a costly one nonetheless.
It is indeed. So Villanova now a little bit on the back foot. You're going to see a couple of those Tech 9s come out on their side. Deagle's a little bit of upgraded pistols. They got a little bit of cash to work with just to try to do something with that. And if they could get a little bit of effort or a little bit of hardware off of the UConn side, we've seen how that can turn around super, super quickly. Ty taking a little bit of team damage there, just a friendly, poke in the back saying, hey, get moving. And we're off to the start of this where Villanova is slowing down pretty significantly, just trying to find these picks with the pistols. It seems like they're pushing a little bit into mid for the first time in this game. A little bit of a trade there. Tubby taking some damage, but trading to 1, 2, 3. There goes Cheney. Tubby just escaping with 3 HP, but not for long. Ty taking out Reshiram. It's been cleanup across the map now. Everybody just trying to find those remaining Villanova players and end the round, while Villanova is still roaming, trying to find any of those UConn players that have gotten too brave to stay on their sites. No contact so far, but there is still quite a few roaming players hanging out, doing their thing.
And this should be the round as well. The flank from behind, it won't even find one. The swing from the MP9 only finds one. Kwanye now in a 1 versus 3, unfortunately won't find anything. Yukon, coming into the season, have apparently added 2 different things. The Counter-Strike as a game to their esports side of things, and maintenance as a major, which is probably a good thing, because Villanova, with how bad this is going, there's got to be a cleanup on Isle Vertigo at some point. Also,
Alright.
quick note. I looked into the previous games. Cheney was on the team last year.
Under
I thought
different name?
No, under Cheney. I thought I noticed them. I thought I remembered them. They just played on the team. They actually in the last game of the season they played on the team that beat Marist.
I feel like you're gaslighting me. Oh, maybe
I
not.
thought I
Was that
remembered
last
them.
year?
Yeah, it was last year.
Oh, maybe
It was
they
the last game of the
were they
season.
end of season ad?
I could check, but maybe.
They weren't consistent in it, or maybe they were the player that they couldn't get in because of scheduling issues. I know there were a couple instances of that happened last year, but in the here and now, UConn finds themselves down a player able to equalize that. But Cheney, coming from the equalizer there, is going to find 2 Sovo and 1, 2, 3 going down to give Villanova their first round win of their map selection. So Villanova able to finally put a stop to some of the momentum that UConn had been building up. They're going to take that first kill, that first round. They're going to leave UConn in a position where money's decent. They're going to try to put out just a light buy there, some upgraded pistols and some SMGs. Try to answer up close, and Villanova not expecting them to be super close. 1, 2, 3 takes out his player and Tubby for their trouble. That's going to give the equalizer back to UConn, but it is most importantly going to give an AK over to 1, 2, 3. So it's going to give them a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more firepower. Kwanye finds Loverman trying to push out from that B site down the stairs, trying to get as much information, and that opening is going to give the go-ahead to Villanova to start pushing up that B site. You can see them aggressively pushing in, trying to beat the rotation, and we've got one player on the site, that's Ty, waiting for the rotation. He's going to go down as Kwanye finds that opening kill, and we've got 2 players rushing in from the UConn side. 1, 2, 3 takes out Kwanye with that picked up AK. They're going to wait patiently for that that retake. DeSovo goes down to the Molly, and that's just going to leave 1 player out there. A lot of chip damage being done to 1, 2, 3. He's still trying to hold on to that AK as best he can while the angles are being held by Villanova. They are not going to give this up.
No, they're not aggressing either. I like the patience here from Nova. AK Tag does die. Still a shot here for 1, 2, 3, but I don't think they're going to even try it. They don't have a kit, and now they only have 6 HP to work with. The spray is there, the Molotov as well. This is a 1 round for Villanova. Another one at that, a chaotic one to say the very least, but a victory regardless. UConn really cut down in this, and 1, 2, 3 had to run for the hills in that situation. Really any closer than CT to the bomb would have killed them. Luckily, it does not.
A little bit of nerves, creating some uncertainty there, especially as 1, 2, 3 made that aggressive push through mid. And despite the fact that he took out his teammate, picking up that AK, I think is probably worth the life of one of your friends there. So, able to do a little bit of at least anxiety-inducing actions. So now we're going to see Villanova aggressively coming back to that A side. We're going to see some of those pre-nades come down. Not going to connect, but they are aggressively up that A ramp. They're going to miss that Molly, but they're going to pick up one, so it's fine. They've got multiple players on the A site over here for UConn. Going to give them 3 kills. But a little bit of an equalizer coming out from Villanova, so they're slowing it down immensely. That flash creates a huge opportunity. AKA Tag trying desperately to control that spray, almost loses it, but ends up coming up on the winning side. However, that HP is incredibly low. Oh, you see the headshot, just a missed opportunity from UConn there, but they're pushing up. They're going to find that second spray. Loverman comes in with a clutch, helps out the team to their 4th round victory. Villanova is still at 2.
And Villanova at this point, apparently Ty decided to switch his group, by the way. You could see FPL bot number 1. But a note was that you could see Ty in not only that round, but a few of the others trying to aggress quickly, but is only 5 and 6 thus far. Not looking all that good, at least not early on here for UConn. Another note, by the way, Cheney was part of the inconsistent roster of Villanova because they had a whole host of subs throughout the season. But it was notably them, Internet, AK Tag, Kwanye West, Tubby Muffin, and Reshiram were the main players alongside Puberty. So they had really an 8-man roster for 5 spots. So you can see every so often there were consistent substitutions.
Yeah, nobody going quite so far as Marquette, where they built specific packages out for the map based on kind of the
Yeah.
expertise. Some good rotations and certainly some good circumstantial efforts there. In JL, the difference and the change ups from UConn coming here are creating a great opportunity for the team, right? You don't really know when they're going to be super aggressive, where they're going to hold back. They're doing a great job of being just variable enough to keep Villanova off of a solid footing, really. So Villanova comes back into it. Again, they're just like in the last game, they're not out of these rounds by any means. You can see, obviously, they picked up quite a few of them, 2 of them out of the 7 that have been played so far, and doing a pretty good job of taking the battles when they're there. A lot of it's just been a result of timing, or just not expecting someone to be there because UConn's changed up how they're going to play a particular site. So as they've been played patiently and they're waiting for UConn to push a little bit more aggressively, they've been able to punish that. Being able to close out on that has been a difference.
The question remains for Villanova, can they pick up some of these kills? Good night, JL. Somehow doesn't take out Cheney. Cheney returning the damage, and even more so to find that one-shot headshot. They also follow the law of drop the op to the low HP player. Now, Cheney wielding Big Green, but it's the man advantage for Villanova off the back of Cheney's kill, and somehow AK Tag able to aggress towards B just the same, finding a kill of their own. The question remains for you, Tyler. If you're Villanova, what do? Because, as you can see, A's relatively occupied.
It's really tough without the map control and the information, right? But Cheney doesn't care about that. Finds Ty, who's been a little bit of aggressive, standing up on that sandbags, but nobody's looking behind them. So 1-2-3 has the opportunity for several, takes out 2 of them and able to get away without taking any damage whatsoever. While he's mollied off from that rotation on the other side, it doesn't really matter because the players are on site. DeSilvo pushing through the smoke and aims and connects with Tubby Muffin's head as he tries to put down that bomb, and that's just going to leave AKA Tag not able to take on DeSilvo, who'd repositioned at that point. So I think Villanova, they got the picks that they needed. They just ran into these situations where they didn't have anybody covering their flank. That created that opportunity for 1-2-3 to come in and get there and get that double kill. And then it was just a matter of time with the crossfires and the angles that you have to check. That site can be so punishing to take when you don't have a sufficient amount of utility or manpower. And unfortunately, that was just the case as they progressed up that ramp.
I feel like the most important part of that round is not only the fact that they get that opening swing with 1-2-3, but they communicate to DeSilvo that the Molotov is not allowing them to plant on default, so DeSilvo doesn't spray anywhere near default. They spray towards the center of the site and find the gamble shot landing. Speaking of a gamble shot, good night, DeSilvo. No second attempt for you. Still a deagle available, at least there was there for Tubby Muffin. They will fall a 3 versus 3, sir. 3 versus 3, sure, but UConn have a significant weaponry advantage.
And especially with that AWP, although it's pushed up far enough, but he's just going to catch that. And there goes the head of AKA Tag, and that's difficult. However, 1-2-3 taking a bunch of damage from those Tet9s as they come in through. Ty being a good teammate comes in. Don't worry, Tags out 1-2-3. I got this. Takes out Rusherum. Closes that out for them. That definitely could have gone the way very directly. I think the main issue that we ran into is that Villanova at the end there just weren't grouped up, and that separation gave too much opportunity for those refrags. And again, UConn doing such a great job of just staying connected at the hips. They're not giving a lot of disconnected moments there. Cheney taking advantage of a great flash, able to take out JK. Mr. Loverman, who pushed up aggressively into mid, is going to take out Tubby, who's been playing that flank position in that mid opportunity. Still staying mostly committed to the B site. There is, however, DeSilvo with that op on that site that's going to make things very, very uncomfortable. However, there are still 2 players from the UConn side staying committed to A. So if they decide to push right now, they're going to only deal with half of the team. And those mollies coming in, it looks like they're going to trigger that. Are they able to push through that? They know that there's an op there, but that's flash coming out, not getting anybody. So they're going to get all the way up onto site. It's just a matter of who takes what first. But DeSilvo and Loverman playing excellently off the same angle, able to find 2 players and cut that aggressing force in half, retaking the site. The territory is going back and forth. It's like watching a game of Risk. Loverman comes in, follows up, gets Rusherum out there, leaving just Kwanye alone. He's going to try for that angle, but DeSilvo through the smoke takes him down, and that is the end of the 10th round, again, in favor of UConn.
While DeSovo only finds 3 kills, they find an all-important third shot leg onto AK Tag as they swing from that rafter/scaffolding position on the left side as they walk forward. And that allowed the finish from Mr. Loverman as they were able to lock down the far side, because the crossfire was still established, and low HP long range is relatively easy to take out with an M4 as long as you hit that first shot, and they did. UConn find 8 because of it, and Villanova, again, having some struggles not only getting onto the site, but really locking it down later on. This time it's on the T side to open things up rather than what was on the CT side to getting onto the site to retake last map, but still an applicable conversation of which they really don't seem to have an answer to.
It's tough. I mean, we talked about this. I talked about this before, where these rounds are not incredibly one-sided. You know, there's just like a big moment that happens, right? They run into 2 or 3 people into a spray that's, you know, pre-fire. That's going to happen. It doesn't matter what level of play you're dealing with, right? And they're getting into these executes, and they're doing a pretty good job. You know, every once in a while, a missed molly or a missed smoke is creating an uncomfortable situation for them, but it's not like they're going into these situations completely outmatched. And so the difference in some cases is literally just one frag going in the opposite direction. And unfortunately, they haven't been able to string that together just yet. They have not been able to take advantage of, you know, full utility as often as we would like, but they're trying, and we see them here going for a buy. Tubby's going to have full utility, so they're going to have the opportunity. And I think maybe the answer is they just have more concentrated rushes into one spot, you know, lay off the default. They're not always winning those one-on-ones, although sometimes those are going drastically in their favor. But even with that man advantage, it's not always enough. So they got to give them the opportunity to do that and continue to capitalize on it.
Is this Villanova's second timeout, or is it their first? And I'm just thinking that there's been a second, because I feel like it's their second in like 3 rounds, if I recall correctly. And after the last time, they didn't really have all that much of an answer. This time around, they have to, because AKs across the board, they have 1 full kit of utility. The rest is really a full kit split between 4 players. 5 nades between 4 players, that being a flash, 2 mollies, and 2 smokes. Not all that much to work off of, and mid seems to be the call for them. You could see 4, now 5 players aggressing in that way, but with just 1 on the other side, Mr. Loverman is looking for a lineup here. On the backside of their own smoke, they're well aware of that gap in it. It's been established intentionally so. They're trying to make it out, and they will do so indeed. Finding not only a kill, not extra damage, but at least creating chaos for Villanova's attack, and they'll just retreat with their life.
Smart choice. Take what you can get and get out, right? And they're coming back kind of with a renewed sense of opportunity to come together, get some of that refrag magic that UConn is bringing into it potentially. And you see them playing together in those pairs, trying to figure out what's going on either site, and if they're going to be able to find that opening, which they certainly could. I mean, Loverman still being at half health, not, you know, having a lot of success in that trade is not going to be where they want to, but they're exploring this mid position, and we're going to see if they can find anything out of it. It looks like Loverman playing a little bit further back isn't going to give them anything in terms of an immediate advantage, but we're going to see this boost here. Are they going to get that information? Yes, Loverman goes down to Cheney. It's going to be a great opener, but something where they still have to be more on the conservative side because they don't have a lot of room for error.
A well-placed nade, did a decent bit of damage, and Ty's able to swing off of it. Not only hearing the sound cue of the nade landing specifically onto a player rather than onto the wall and then doing a little bit of damage, but they can push off of it, finding the kill. Guanyu with a double on the backside of the site, but Ty with a quad in the round. Almost the ace, but Mr. Loverman finding the opening kill will make sure that is indeed not the case. UConn, regardless, will find a 9th round off the back of Ty's heroics, not only in mid off the back of their teammates' utility, but on the site itself off the back of their teammates' shortcomings. And UConn seemingly cannot be stopped. Can't be stopped, can't be moved, can't be rocked. We hot.
They've got really great momentum there, and Ty, that play through the smoke did so well for them there, right? Villanova obviously was not expecting that. They were using the smoke as the wall, but UConn just completely unfazed by that, pushing it around, using the gap in the smoke there to get the most out of it, and that flank just absolutely was the implosion point of that round.
Oh my gosh.
Villanova taking a lot of that early damage, but finding the first kill in the round is going to give them a little bit more confidence to continue the progression on there. UConn backing up just a little bit, giving a little bit more space on the ramp. They've got the information. They don't need to push for it, and P can give those one-on-ones. Not a ton of utility for the Villanova side to work with here, and UConn expecting that they're continuing to try with this, just a little bit is going to push there. That nade not finding a whole lot of purchase, but a little bit of that fire goes on. UConn not able to hold the site just yet, but Ty still behind those sandbags, still alive somehow, finds 2, finds 3. Ty is an absolute madman. He's gonna get the 4th. Oh my god.
He just
Wow.
aced. He found 9 kills in 2 rounds. Somebody nerf Ty. What is this? This man just decides, oh yeah, I'm going to chill at sandbags, find an opening kill, it's not going to be communicated. A second around towards the backside of site, finally it's communicated and they start to clear me. But I kill a third, I drop the bomb, and I'm like, oh yeah, 2 more kills, no problem. 1 magazine, 5 kills. 2 rounds, 9 kills. I feel that EGF needs to issue sanctions on Ty. You owe this, you own this place, Tyler, can you do that? I know he kind of shares your name, but still.
Sorry, I'm dedicated to not interfering. Oof, that's not a great opener for UConn's, well, I'm sorry, for Villanova's aggression there, although Tubby able to take out a Tie, so they've nerfed
Finally.
the UConn team.
Oh no.
Taking them out there. That's good news.
Not so good news. There's a flank. Mr. Loverman with a double of their own. This time it wasn't really clearing stuff, it was making sure that something wasn't clear. 1, 2, 3, the last one on the site, takes a little bit of damage, but both players here for Villanova are low. 1-2 shot between the two of them. 3 shots total, ends the round. Unfortunately, DeSova with that op in hand doesn't find the first. 1, 2, 3 finds for the second, but aka Tag on 19 HP, a single shot from death, but Illusion will die off the back of just a single headshot required. Finally, Villanova win, and off the back of taking down Ty first, albeit with about 17 shots through the scaffolding wall, but a kill nonetheless.
It was a much better round from Villanova across the board, despite the fact that they're still falling victim to these flanks. We've seen that happen now, I think, 3 times over the 13 rounds that have been played. Almost catastrophic for them, but Tubby able to just, tie up those boots real tight and put the team in that little backpack and just run on the site and get so much more than they've been able to in previous rounds. That third round is super important. They're still obviously not in a comfortable position as they think about what they're going to try to accomplish as they move over to the T side. But if they can pick up 2 more rounds, 10-5 is respectable enough, that if they get that pistol round, they can be back in the position, but they're not going to see him sit there. JL playing so aggressively up there is going to do exactly what UConn did on the other side when they took out Ty, and they're going to nerf Villanova by taking out Tubby. And that flank comes in once again, almost not communicated, but it doesn't matter because AKA Tag not able to respond to that effectively. Going to lose 2 of them to Loverman before being taken down by Cheney. So that's going to leave this 2-on-3. Reshiram with the op does have the opportunity to equalize from the A site, but so far nobody willing to push through that, although they're getting dangerously close. And it's Ty.
There's an op on the other side. It doesn't matter. Reshiram dead. Cheney 1 versus 3. Swung on once more. Ty does damage, but doesn't find the kill. 12 HP for Cheney. 14 for 1, 2, 3 as they're stuck on the backside of elevators. They will retreat towards heaven with that M4 in hand. But remember, Cheney's just 1 shot from death with 2 players still alive. They too see him and drop him as well. 11 for UConn. 1 away from a 12-3 half and the final round of the half as well. It's not looking good for Villanova again.
Not great, but not impossible. That's the most important thing. Always try to stay optimistic. That's what we're going for. Villanova, bring it back. 16-11, no problem.
It's a hope for them. And it looks like an A rush is indeed the call. They're sending it around towards that A side. Molotov's waiting for them on the other side, though. They can't push up scaffolding. They're walking straight into Ty, who is yet to be nerfed by this Villanova side. Shot up and over. It's 1, 2, 3 with a double at that. 1 versus 4 for Kwanye. Not going to happen. They're cut down again. And a 12-3 scoreline for UConn. If you combine the first half of this game and the first half of the previous game, the combined score for you, Tyler, 25-5.
UConn doing an excellent job of, again, making that statement that we talked about. Love to see that in their opening debut with us here in EGF Season 4. You can see here that the input and the impact from Ty cannot be understated. There was a 125 ADR, doing an excellent job to service their team, being super aggressive into mid. They're going to find that first pick, that second pick coming from JL. They are losing HP as they go, but it doesn't matter because they're still keeping those bodies up. And as long as they can pull a trigger,
My
that's all that
gosh.
matters. As you see them just absolutely bulldoze over mid onto the B site. It's going to leave just Cheney, who does find one, but finds Ty in an unfortunate 1v1, and Ty living up to the reputation that he established in the first half. Going to take out Cheney, and that's going to put the 13th round on the board for UConn, putting them firmly in the driver's seat that they've been in. And now, they're looking out the window, waving as they go by.
Ty and Mr. Loverman have a combined 41 kills through 16 rounds. I don't think the impact there can be understated. Kwanye just sitting on the boost position will find an opening, so DeSovo dropped early, a decent start for Villanova, but unfortunately a little bit of damage done by DeSovo means Kwanye just on low HP can be taken out relatively easily. A double from 1-2-3, but they're stuck down to 60 HP as well. While, yeah, Villanova don't particularly win the opening engagement, they bring it to very fairly close as a retake is once more required.
So as they slow down in the middle there, the bomb being down is something of an advantage to the Villanova side, but they're just pushing through and they're getting all of those angles. 1, 2, 3. UConn is having such a great smoke flank day. They're just able to play around the edges of those smoke. That's 2 huge rounds where that close flank has come into play there and give them the ability to take out multiple people, where just not covering those angles, not being aware of the gap in the smoke, or just having, too many things to worry about all at once has been very difficult for Villanova to deal with.
Well, you saw 1-2-3 with some Overwatch 2 level tracing as the jump over came through. That looked actually really satisfying in Counter-Strike. You don't usually see that because people don't jump around like chickens with their heads cut off all the time. That situation wasn't really jumping like a chicken with your head cut off, just jumping up and over, but still a situation that I found mildly entertaining. Dink across at Kwanye, already an opening. JL finds a kill of their own in towards mid. This round seemingly already over with weapon disadvantages here for Villanova, and they don't have any money. It'll be max loss bonus into this final round of play, almost certainly. They do have bomb control. Correction, they did have bomb control. Now they don't, and they've lost the round. 15-3. Tyler, I blinked, and it's UConn match point.
It is coming together that quickly at the end there, and I think part of that may be just a little bit of impatience or frustration from the side of Villanova. They're taking a more aggressive stance than they had in the past. Part of that, I'm sure, is in an attempt to change up how things are going. Obviously, things not going in their favor over the last 18 rounds so much. But they still are in a position to try to challenge a little bit. They've got those Zumps and Famasas and MP9s, and they can do whatever they can. Rushroom going down earlier is not going to help out their cause, but they did slow down the UConn advance just a little bit. It might be enough to get some players over there and do some damage. You do see that Kwanye is trying to push for that flank, taking a page out of UConn's book. UConn's kind of stuck on that ramp right now, waiting for another pick. But right now, they're just hanging out there. And if they come through, see Kwanye starting to push up the ramp.
Oh my gosh.
Able
Not
to do
finding
some
the opening
damage,
kill.
but not close it. Oh, that's heartbreaking. That was a great flank and almost something that would have made a huge difference. And that close effort by Cheney. But unfortunately, it's Ty that runs in with JL. 2v1 aka Tag has got the entire match on his hands now.
Not happening, unfortunately. 16-3, 16-4. The two maps in no particular order. Useful wins the map, aka UConn's Face It team name, but a victory and a convincing one at that for UConn themselves. They walk away with the victory, and convincingly so. 32-7, the overall round differential through this series, and a short one at that.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really know what to expect from UConn coming there. We've learned from the past that when you look at a FACEIT rank or an MM rank, like, you're not going to necessarily talk to their expectations and create positive predictions. I think Villanova had some of the same struggles that we saw last season. I mean, at the end of the day, they ended up literally 50-50, perfect 500 score over the course of the entire season. So they certainly had really bright moments. They took on some really great teams and did absolutely stunningly. This time, UConn came out, wanted to make their opening statement, and they did so convincingly. So I would put them up there with where we would expect the DePaul and the Marquettes to be. And we're going to see 3 new teams playing later today. We don't really know what to expect from Weber State or Bowling Green. We are expecting RIT to be pretty good, so we'll see what that looks like. And a great match. I'd love to see this, and we saw some incredible plays from some of those teams out there, and I just expect more to happen the rest of it today.
And Villanova starting things off maybe on the back foot, but it was off of what you can see was relatively convincing mistakes. Sometimes not clearing a corner, not clearing the backside of smoke, communication maybe not being the best thing, but that's something they can work on. And there's a whole season to work on that. UConn coming into this with 3-4 weeks of practice, looking clean and clear, pretty damn good in these first 2 maps of play. But we got more maps coming your way and more teams to do so. DePaul, the reigning champions, taking on the Rochester Institute of Technology, one of the new teams here, at least for CSGO in the EGFC. We'll see if they can live up to their Overwatch and Rocket League level names when we come back.
When you feel my heat, look into my eyes. It's where my demons hide. It's where my demons hide. Don't get too close. It's dark inside. It's where my demons hide. It's where my demons hide.
You are the shadow to my light. Did you feel us? Another start, you fade away. Afraid our aim is out of sight. Wanna see us alive? Where are you now? Where are you now? Where are you now? Was it all your fantasy? Where are you now? We were imaginary. Where are you now? Atlantis, under the sea, under the sea. Where are you now? Another dream. The monster's running right inside of me. I'm faded. I'm faded. So lost. I'm faded. I'm faded. So lost. I'm faded. Where are you now? Where are you now? I'm burning bright but faded lights. You've set a heart on fire. Where are you now? Where are you now? I'm burning bright but faded lights. You've set a heart on fire. Where are you now? Where are you now? Where are you now? Atlantis, under the sea, under the sea. Where are you now? Another dream. The monster's running right inside of me. I'm faded. I'm faded. So lost. I'm faded. I'm faded. So lost. I'm faded. So lost. I'm faded. So lost. I'm faded. Where are the times gone, baby? It's all wrong. Where are the plans we made for two? Yeah, I know it's hard to remember the people we used to be. It's even harder to picture that you're not here next to me. You say it's too late to make it, but is it too late to try? And in our time that you wasted, all of our bridges burned down. I wasted my nights, you turned out the lights. Now I'm paralyzed, still stuck in that time when we called it love. But even the sun sets in paradise. I'm at a payphone trying to call home. All of my change I spent on you. Where have the times gone, baby? It's all wrong. Where are the plans we made for two? If happy ever after did exist, I would still be holding
paste. Now you can hear us. Apologies for that one. Basically, this is Ty. That's Tyler. Ty earlier said fairly happy to start things off. Tyler, I'm going to have you repeat your question because I don't know how to route audio.
All right, Tommy. Sorry about that. So, we were asking, we were talking about your with your captain ahead of the match. Your relatively new team. So we were just trying to get a sense of how the last couple of weeks have come together, what you've done in preparation for the season, and kind of how you're feeling about things so far.
Yeah, absolutely, we were very excited for the EGF new season, and it also is my first uh first season in the EGF, and we practice like every day, and we really wanna win some games, and yeah,
I mean, you've done
Wait,
an excellent job of that so far. Obviously, going 2-0 in your opening match is pretty great. Obviously, you weren't with us last season, but as you look at kind of the schools across the league right now, is there anybody that you're particularly excited to play against this split?
mm, oh, you mean schools?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, we wanna play it. We wanna play against the Depot. Yeah,
yeah, they're pretty monstrous out there, and
they're
we have
they're
our
pretty
team back.
good. I
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, well, they started things off and they will start things off after this. Any final words, any final thoughts overall, Ty, before we send it away?
Yeah, I wanna say thank you to EGF, and so we have a chance to play against other schools, and I wanna shout out to my coach, my teammates, and you guys, and thank you so much. Yep.
Well,
Thanks
thank
so
you
much
very
for your
much, Ty,
time.
for joining us. And a congratulations off a victory. Not only do you get the chance to play, you get a chance to win, of which you've capitalized off of to open things up. Now, we'll send it to a break, and when we come back, it's RIT taking on the aforementioned DePaul to see if DePaul can live up to the hype that Ty has brought them, or if RIT come out with a screamer, just as UConn has picked up here in our first series. We'll find out after the break.
It's beautiful, it's bittersweet, you're like a broken home to me. I take a shot of memories and black out like an empty street. I fill my days with the way you walk and fill my nights with broken dreams. I make up lies inside my head like one day you'll come back to me. Now I'm not holding on, not holding on. I'm just depressed that you're gone. Not holding on, not holding on. Beautiful mistakes I make inside my head. She's naked in my bed, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. I wouldn't take 'em back. I'm in love with the past, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. In my head, in my bed. I take a break, I cut you off to keep myself from looking soft. I fill my nights with the way you was and still wake up with broken dreams. I make these lies inside my head feel like they're my reality. Now I'm not holding on, not holding on. I'm just depressed that you're gone. Not holding on, not holding on. Beautiful mistakes I make inside my head. She's naked in my bed, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. I wouldn't take them back. I'm in love with the past, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. In my head, in my bed, making beautiful mistakes. In my head, in my bed, making beautiful mistakes. Making beautiful mistakes. I caught it bad yesterday. You hit me with a call to your place. Ain't been out in a while anyway. Was hoping I could catch you throwing smiles in my face. Romantic talking, you don't even have to try. You're cute enough to play with me tonight. Looking at the table and I see the reason why. Baby, you live in the life, but baby, you ain't living right. Champagne and drinking with your friends. You live in the dark, but I cannot pretend. I'm not faced, only innocent. If being in your garden, you know that you can. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me in the morning, I'll be on the way. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me out by your name, I'll be on the way. Like I wanna feel on your lips in Hawaii, yeah. I want the jet lag from playing and flying. Put a smile on your mouth while I'm diving. Funny, the sign of the times every time that I speak. A dime and a nine, it was mine every week. What a time and it's blind that was shining on me. Now I can't leave. And now I'm acting hella elite. Never want the bitches that's in my league. I only want the ones I envy, I envy. Champagne and drinking with your friends. You live in the dark, but I cannot pretend. I'm not faced, only innocent. If being in your garden, you know that you can. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me in the morning, I'll be on the way. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me up by your name, I'll be on the way. Like, call me by your name and tell me you love me in private. Call me by your name. I do not care if you're lying. When you want me, call me, I'll drop everything. Don't need your name, cause I don't have to say it. Fuck it, let's ride. Fuck it, let's ride. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me in the morning, I'll be on the way. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me up by your name, I'll be on the way. Like I just need to get it off my chest. Yeah, more than you know. Yeah, more than you know. You should know that, baby, you're the best. Yeah, more than you know. Yeah, more than was hot from summer rain, sweat dripping off me. Before I even knew her name, la la la. It felt like ooh la la la, yeah. Oh, sapphire moonlight. We danced for hours in the sand, tequila sunrise. Her body fit right in my hands, la la la.
Cause you know it's been a long time coming, don't you let me fall.
Oh, how your lips undress me, hooked on your tongue. Oh, Lord, your kisses deadly, don't stop. I love it when you call me señorita. I wish I could pretend I didn't need you. But every touch is ooh la la la. It's true la la la. Oh, I should be running. Oh, you know I love it when you call me señorita. I wish it wasn't so damn hard to leave you. But every touch is ooh la la la. It's true la la la. Oh, I should be running. Oh, you keep me coming for ya.
Call my name, I'll be coming for ya.
On my way, bonafide stallion. Ain't in no stable, no, you're staying on the run. Ain't on the side, you're number one. Yeah, every time I come around, you get it done. 50-50, love the way you split it. Hide your ex, help me spend it, babe. Light a match, get it lit, babe. The jet set, watch the sunset, kinda. Yeah, yeah. Rolling eyes back in my head, make my toes curl, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you got that yummy, yum, that yummy, yum, that yummy, yum. Yeah, you got that yummy, yum, that yummy, yum, that yummy. Say the word on my way, yeah, babe, yeah, babe, yeah, babe. Any night, any day, say the word on my way, yeah, babe, yeah, babe, yeah, babe. In the morning or the late, say the word on my way, standing up, keep me on the rise. Lost control of myself, I'm compromised. You're incriminating, no disguise. You ain't never running low on supplies. Split it, to love the way you split it. How'd your ex help me spend it, babe? Light a match, get it lit, babe. The chat said, watch the sunset, kinda. Yeah, yeah. Rolling eyes back in my head, make my toes curl, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you got that. Yeah, you got that. 50-50, love the way you split it. Love the way you split it. How'd your ex help me spend it, babe? Light a match, get it lit, babe. The jet set, watch the sunset, kinda. Yeah, yeah. Rolling eyes back in my head, make my toes curl, yeah, yeah. On my way, bonafide stallion. Ain't in no stable, no, you're staying on the run. Ain't on the side, you're number one. Yeah, every time I come around, you get it done. 50-50, love the way you split it. How'd your ex help me spend it, babe? Light a match, get it lit, babe. The jet set, watch the sunset, kinda. Yeah, yeah. Rolling eyes back in my head, make my toes curl, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you got that yummy, yum, that yummy, yum, that yummy, yum. Yeah, you got that yummy, yum, that yummy, yum, that yummy. Say the word on my way, yeah, babe, yeah, babe, yeah, babe. Any night, any day, say the word on my way, yeah, babe, yeah, babe, yeah, babe. In the morning or the late, say the word on my way, standing up, keep me on the rise. Lost control of myself, I'm compromised. You're incriminating, no disguise. You ain't never running low on supplies. Split it, to love the way you split it. How'd your ex help me spend it, babe? Light a match, get it lit, babe. The chat said, watch the sunset, kinda. Yeah, yeah. Rolling eyes back in my head, make my toes curl, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you got that. Yeah, you got that. 50-50, love the way you split it. Love the way you split it. How'd your ex help me spend Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I've never had before, no. I get a good feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I've never had before, no. I get a good feeling, yeah. Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I get a good feeling, yeah. Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I've never had before, no. I get a good feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I've never had before, no. I get a good feeling, yeah. Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I've never had before. I get a good feeling, yeah.
Baby bank, ayy, couple racks, ayy, couple Grammys on them, couple plex, ayy, that's a fact, ayy, throw it back, ayy, throw it back, ayy, and this one is for the champions. I ain't lost since I began, yeah. Funny how you said it was the end, yeah. Then I went and did it again, yeah. I told you long ago on the road, I got what they're waiting for. I don't run from nothing, dog. Catch your soul, just tell them ain't laying low. You was never really rooting for me anyway. When I'm back up at the top, I wanna hear you say, we don't run from nothing, dog. Catch your soul, just tell them that the break is over. Yeah, hey, oh, let's do it. I ain't fall off, I just ain't release my new shit. I blew up, now everybody tryna sue me. You call me Nas, but the hood call me Dubé. For the champions, I ain't lost since I began, yeah. Funny how you said it was the end, yeah. Then I went and did it again, yeah.
dreams came true. Yeah, she gave you things I didn't give to you. Never mind, I'll find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget sometimes it lasts in love, but sometimes it hurts instead. Sometimes it lasts in love, but sometimes it hurts instead. Yeah, you know how the time flies. Only yesterday was the time of our lives. We were born and raised in a summer haze, bound by the surprise of our glory days. Never mind, I'll find someone like you. I wish nothing but
From our first to our second, it's the second series here in EGFC season for at least the Counter-Strike side of things. We pick up with a new team versus the Grand Finals victors of our previous season. DePaul, the victors. RIT, the new faces and the new kids on the block. I'm time late. That's Viking. Viking, do RIT live up to the hype, or DePaul just going to continue with their dominance of last season after Colorado's upset?
It's hard to say. On paper, RIT looks super strong, but they're a new team to a league. So going up against the reigning champions from last season, it's a tall order. But then again, we've already saw a pretty strong opener from newcomers UConn in our previous match against Villanova. Fun fact that we checked on over the break, Villanova was literally 500 across the board and everything from rounds to their map wins, which is just a crazy stat line to me. So coming into this match, I'm very excited to see how we go here. We see all of the team or all of the players on the side of DePaul getting into it on the T side. RIT, who are learning for the first time, we're going to see how well they perform.
Yeah, RIT also with a little bit of a consistent scoreline from last season, 0-0 in terms of rounds and maps, considering they didn't play at all. Here's the aggression from DePaul, trying to play just as they did in the previous iteration of their team. Sack with the opener, and Squaw with a follow-up. And apparently RIT are cut down early, the pistol round looking to go DePaul's way. They do indeed retrieve the bomb and start to put that down, but RIT can retake here. I don't think a kit's available, though.
Doesn't look like it.
No, that should be it as well. Legend 45 left and cut down from behind. Chris on the entry to Temple from CT is able to find that angle. And DePaul win the pistol. RIT, not the worst thing in the world. Losing the pistol, you can build off of that, but not a good omen to start things off.
I mean, that aggression in the first round, if you're not prepared for it, especially, you know, when you see a lot of teams kind of go into a default or a pick for information kind of situation, you know, first round, it can go either way. And sometimes it's just down to somebody going absolutely insane. But we see the counter by RIT pushing out into lower mid, and they're going to find S4K there. Legend 45 taking out Chris. Breezy follows it up, takes out Chu Tang. They're not able to pick up those rifles on the side of RIT. They're trying to peek out there and just get some of those things, but the suppression fire coming down from both Breezy and Def is going to clean up both Wrecked and Ningso. Laffy goes down to finish out the round. DePaul is going to have that was kind of a close first round. You saw a little bit of that aggression from RIT paying off. Take some of those rifles out of the hands of DePaul. They are able to recover, but you do see that resulted in just a Galil staying with Chris over there and Def as well. So RIT coming into their first most buy round, opting just for a couple flashes, and smoke's going to be super important as we see DePaul go into their gun round buys, and we see them favoring that A site with lots of utility already pushing out, trying to overwhelm Laffy, who goes down as able to take out Sack for one. Def takes out Laffy, and that is them out onto the site.
They had that prep from spawn. Nice shot from Chu Tang, able to take down Def, but it's still a 3 versus 3. There's a flank being established through a main. Donut is occupied as it stands by Chu Tang. But the real question leaves on Ningso. Legend on the flank, finding a double. Ningso towards CT, taking their sweet time, but Tree is still occupied. They may not clear this. They do indeed, as a matter of fact. Off the back of the flash, Chris is taken out. And RIT deny the bonus round victory there for DePaul and pick up their first round here in EGFC's Counter-Strike season in Season 4. A decent start for RIT, I have to say, and a relatively clean retake off the back of a relatively clean take itself from DePaul. I do like that lineup smoke, by the way. That lineup we saw being prepped from spawn, that went towards the tunnel doors on the outside at Donut. That's how well set up that was.
This is one of those maps where there are so many kind of I'm gonna call them obscure, although obviously like you can look them up online and find them all there. But for when you get to see it, especially depending on the level of play you are, it's just a lot of fun. And especially when we see them, we're like, I don't know where that one goes. And then you see that it does something crazy. But that execution from DePaul, super clean, gets them out on the site, does an excellent job, and huge props to RIT for coming back into that, slowing down the retake, finding exactly what they needed as they were looking for the information and just getting those angles. And here we see them setting up in default. DePaul slowing down significantly from that last round, just trying to get whatever information that they can. Chutang is going to see that Squaw through that smoke out into mid there. They're going to look up towards red. They're going to find that initial engagement. Squaw takes out Chutang, who's guarding Donut. And that's going to be the cue for DePaul to move in. Legend goes down to Breezy, and DePaul is going to take control of this B site.
You know, from an analytical standpoint, DePaul are really telegraphing their plays. Now, in all fairness, we have X-ray vision, so I can see it a little bit easier than maybe RIT could. But that opening smoke towards A really gave away the spot. Hey, we're sending it towards A, and this time, no essence of that, with no pressure towards A main. RIT are a relatively smart team. I'm looking at some Faceit stats right now. Faceit 4, 5, 6, 6, and 3 between the team, but they're all looking relatively clean in terms of their win rates, their matches played, and win percentages off the back of that. So by no means is this a brand new team to CSGO, even though DePaul maybe Faceit level 10s across the board. I still think RIT should be doing a little bit of learning here. And if they have a timeout and a few seconds to really take a look at what DePaul's doing, I'm concerned for DePaul's attack, given how much they've given over in terms of just what they may do with, information right off rip.
Yeah, and this is obviously we've talked about this. We've never seen this RIT team play in our league before, but they're not new as a squad. They've been around for a little while, so you certainly expect to see some of those kind of communications and those nonverbals that you would expect to see from a team once they've gelled a little bit. So we see a bit of that coming through, and we did have a couple picks at the end of that game. It's going to take a couple of the rifles or a couple of the dollars down from the DePaul side. So you see they're still kind of playing in that that margin area in terms of their bank. RIT, on the other hand, with that first those rifles that they saved, just one at the end there, I think so. Trying to do something with it, but DePaul just dominantly coming out there. Ningso does find that first kill, but goes down to Breezy. That's going to be DePaul once again on the site. Going to be sitting in Cheetah, get wrecked. Finds one. He's going to pick up that AK. Going to give them an opportunity to do some sort of damage, but swapping out that Galil. It's going to be sitting there. S4K just sitting, waiting for something to push through. Finds that headshot, get wrecked is going to go down, and that's going to be Laffy's cue to just go for those exits and try his best to get something.
You know, given your voice inflection when you said "get wrecked," it felt like more of an adjective response to the action rather than the name itself. And I was like, "Really, get wrecked? It's only round 2." Speaking of, well, getting wrecked, Laffy just dropping Chris with a deagle, but they will not save the AK this time around. No saved over AK for RIT as we head into round number 6, but nonetheless, still looking okay for RIT in terms of their economic situation. They saved over just about everything from that round, or saved over in their economy terms from that round, so they should and will still be able to buy. Laffy gonna have to take some concessions. It's a FAMAS instead of an M4, and no head armor, and no kit, but still okay. Also, is that a lineup for an A main smoke when you could have just thrown it? Huh? I'm gonna bring that up in a minute. Just...
Okay, we'll put a pin on that. Chutang gets traded out by Sack there. Breezy, sensing someone coming from Cheetah, is going to find that coming through mid into that cat area. Going to equalize us back to a 3-3. We've got RIT still has most control over the map. They've been able to keep those edges pushed up. As we see that Get Wrecked sitting there in kind of the house red area, just waiting for some sort of information. But DePaul so patiently waiting just outside of Donut, looking for someone. But Laffy able to find Breezy coming down. That's going to trigger that push onto the A site. No movement from RIT yet as they're still trying to find that information. So they're going to start for that rotation. You see them coming back through lane, pushing through Donut, trying to get some of those angles. But Def and his teammate have covered those angles. So we're going to see who wins these duels as we get a little bit closer to that time. RIT being very cautious, looking for those retakes, not trying to give up any free kills as they're figuring out those angles.
What?
And it looks like the save call is coming in.
What? A save with 2 kits available? That's what's happening. Ningso's running away. I'm gonna say I don't understand this one. By a fairly large margin here for RIT, you could have set up the retake a little bit earlier, should Get Wrecked pushed early, but they decided not to, and because of it, DePaul win, and don't even have to defend the site after getting the bomb down. A guarantee round victory with only the bomb required to get that round in their favor. Sack will look to save the AK and will do so cleanly. Get Wrecked does keep over the AWP and takes a rifle away, but the previous conversation I wanted to bring up while I have a second, they have a lineup for a main smoke instead of just throwing it as they walk forward. Because that lands so early and with only a 15-second timer on every smoke in Counter-Strike, for all of you who are new here, that means that for at least 6 or 7 seconds they have a smoke down when they don't need it, and for 6 or 7 seconds later on, they don't have a smoke down when they probably should. I don't like it.
That's okay.
You're like, you'll get over it. Yeah,
You will get over it.
I will. I'll survive. But it's still like, huh? I don't know.
It's okay. We'll talk more about utility after the fact. Squad coming in finds Laffy unexpected as he's trying to clear all that A main. RIT being more aggressive in this round, just trying to find whatever they can with utility they have. They're going to get punished for that if Chris finds that second kill. Breezy finds his second of the round on a Ningso, and that's going to be the A site again, or sorry, the B site over to them once again.
They're saving again. It is Jame time for RIT.
What are you gonna do, right?
I mean, true, but like already, it's Jame time for RIT. And, oh, they're not even saving over the op. Nice flank from Def in through red and house means Get Wrecked gets wrecked, and no real way here for RIT to even save over the FAMAS. That should be cleared out of Temple. You can see Sack walking forward, sees Chutang, and takes Chutang out. Another conversation I wanted to bring up. Earlier I said DePaul were really telegraphing their moves. I think that was more of a bait setup now that I just saw that flank kill around towards A main with no utility nor pressure towards A main. They still had a lurk set up on that side of the map and really baited RIT into a false sense of security. Because of it, they find that opening kill and are really able to push onto the B site with RIT's attention really split.
I think what we're seeing is we're getting a little bit deeper into this is DePaul is doing a great job of penetrating that first line of defense, getting behind RIT and just creating some of those situations where, you know, they're where you wouldn't expect them to be. You're seeing them pushing through some expected trades here as RIT is trying to push into T-spawn, take whatever they can. They are going to pick up one AK, which is going to give them a little bit of hope in this round to at least cause some damage or save that AK coming into the next round. But Squaw, not having any of that, is going to go take out Laff. You would pick up that AK. So now it's just Ningso left on the RIT side towards that doors area, doing the best he can to do whatever damage he can before they ultimately close on it. DePaul not even going for the bomb plant here because they can't. The bomb is down, so that is one up for them. But Squaw swinging around the corner is going to find the last member of the RIT team. And it's going to put 7 rounds on the board for DePaul. RIT 7-1 right now, looking for some kind of answer to the DePaul aggression.
You know, if my math is correct, we've had 3 straight games here to open up EGF Season 4, all 3 of which had a 7-1 scoreline. Are we secretly just switching this to a Brazil-themed event?
Can't get away from it, can we?
No, we can't. Not at all.
How many
Nice
years
shot, by the
ago
way.
was that? Tell me what that reference is.
2014.
Hmm.
If I remember correctly, Germany was able to beat Brazil 7-1 in the 2014 World Cup. And ever since, BRA 7-1L has been a prevalent thing whenever there's a 7-1 scoreline in any professional CSGO chat.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, who are we to let anything go?
Exactly.
And so here we go. So DePaul taking this round pretty slowly. They did lose Chris in the early parts of this round. They are now set up in the A main area looking for these smokes. They're going to create that smoke wall, and RIT more positioned for a B and mid defense than they are for defending on A. So it's just Ningso on this site trying to do whatever he can to slow down the push. He's going to avoid the molly, which is good. Lays down a little bit of damage. Chu Tang takes out Sack, or sorry, Squaw. Sack takes 2, get wrecked, trades out 1. Sack looking over those flames, just finding that's doing an excellent job to take out Get Wrecked. So now it's a 2v2. Make that a 2v1 as Laffy comes from Donut, finds one more, and Legend able to take out Sack, and they're going to get that defuse. So this is the round number 2 on the board for RRT.
Well, they deny the Sack ace. It was a 1v2 with a 3k already retained. Unfortunate finish there for Sack, but a victory for RIT, exactly what they were looking for, and a little bit of momentum in their favor. Keeping 2 players alive could have been a little bit better on that front, but a victory is indeed a victory. And as we talked about earlier, baby steps required as RIT at least win another round in their favor. DePaul, with their economy, will be perfectly fine. And should they lose this, they will still have more than enough money to buy next round, but the round following, that's where they start to be concerned.
It is indeed DePaul back to that aggression. You see him running up cap through Cheetah already. They're going to run into Laffy, who's going to be able to spray down 1, but Breezy able to take them out and continue on the aggression. That's 4 players just pouring onto that B site. DePaul aggressively in the position there, and Chu Tang looks away just at the wrong time, and Chris with that off going to take him down from Cat. And now he's got that locked down. So there is a huge perimeter on the side of DePaul and just 2 players left on the side of RIT. Going to make it incredibly difficult to do anything about that. Oh, the off battle coming up through Cat. Who's going to see who first?
I don't know
Maybe
if
they'll
either
just
of them are
sit
going to
the-
see each other.
Maybe it's for the best.
Probably. Chris seems to know.
Oh,
And,
Chris.
Get wrecked. Jumping up, trying to get a little over aggressive means it's Ningso the only one to save anything whatsoever. I also like that, by the way, the nade trying to blow up the op towards him. Instead, it actually blows it straight back out in the middle. Still a round victory here for DePaul, and a convincing one at that. That's seemingly been the story of this series, where RIT, I think, are not only getting out-dueled, but the utility setups for DePaul are just putting RIT on the back foot before the rubber meets the road, or in this case, the 2 teams see each other, and they're required to shoot at one another.
I think one of the things that DePaul was so good at last year, obviously, other than their just general mechanics, was their ability to stop and start the pace kind of at will, right? And we're seeing that here as well, where they're moving from an incredibly aggressive push where they're, able to put down a bunch of utility, overwhelm the forces on a particular site, or slow down and play those defaults. And we're seeing that pushing through here as they get their first opening kills on Get Wrecked and Legend. So they're going to go for this A site. Ningso trying to get somebody's going to find the first one in Sack, going to look behind him, not find the second one, but Chris able to use that op to his advantage. An excellent offer, as we've seen. He's going to see through the smoke. Def finds Laffy trying to get a little bit sneaky. Not able to find anything for that. Squad comes through, cleans up the remaining RIT player, ending so. And here we are, 2-9, looking very similar to what we saw in our previous game in Nova versus UConn.
I think this is The Simpsons, maybe? It's just stop, he's already dead. It's...
Oh, that's not fair.
I mean, it feels like that not only here, but with the UConn game as well, where it's really good prep on the T side of the opening map for DePaul, just as it was for UConn on their own map pick. And now you look at it and you say, what can RIT do to retake here? Because they're getting out-dueled like that. Squaw was just ready for Get Wrecked swing because a sound cue's given over that were relayed from the bottom of mid by Chris. The communication is looking really good for DePaul, but RIT has Chu Tang, who's already found a double in the round. A very, very good start to open things up, and I'm going to say an intentional one-way smoke setup down B main. That's what I'm going to go with.
I think so. The issue that they have is DePaul's now in the back line, and it's Squaw. Squaw is one of those incredibly dangerous players. Yeah,
yes,
I mean, that's
yes, they do. Yes, they
kind
do.
of been got to learn how to check those map cues. And Squaw just absolutely going going through out there doing some crazy work for his teams, but they didn't manage to take down the bomb planner. But Chris with the op from the back of sight, so dangerous, takes out both Chu Tang and the Legend. Going to close that out for DePaul, make it 10-2. RIT they still have a chance here. We're talking about the optimistic side. We never count any team out. They can certainly pull this back and do something wonderful on the T side. Struggling a little bit with just a couple bright moments. Like you said, Chu Tang did an excellent job there. They've found some success across the board in different locations. The problem is DePaul is just moving so quickly and from so many different directions. It's making it incredibly difficult to set up a defense. And Chris with the opening kill on a get right out of red, devastating feeling for the early part of that round.
On Chutang, unfortunately unable to replicate their previous success, and Cheetah dies off rip. Now only Laffy to clear out of the B site. A smoke towards short, a swing off the back. They have to make sure they fully clear pillar. They will do so, but Squaw will fall. Laffy with at least one. They're looking to now clear out wood from main, but it's Breezy to find the kill and sack another. 1 versus 3 here for the Legend 45 around the backside of CT. Trying to push towards stairs. A flash up and over, though, means they can't see a dang thing. They do get their vision back. Unfortunately, they don't hit the headshot required onto Chris, who just holds W in with a Tech 9, and DePaul find 11.
It's a tough deficit to come back for, and DePaul, again, so aggressive, so oppressive, and we've seen this kind of play. I mean, we normally see it on Inferno, right? You know, you have that CT that just rushes down mid and just you can't even get out of the T ramp area. It's really difficult to come back from that from a block. You have to kind of throw all of your strategies out the window and just try whatever you can. Happening in reverse here with the T's just being so aggressive towards every site. And you see a little bit of a response here where RIT has said, all right, if we're going to be aggressive, let's get aggressive ourselves, pick that information and make the rotations off of that. Squad taking out the Legend. There's one more player in Donut, and he's going to find somebody with a grenade, but not able to close out the kill. He gets out just barely with his life. Def finds someone else instead. Oh, this is incredibly difficult for RIT, just getting decimated by DePaul, who is there just barely hang on to their last breath. So many of those players at just, you know, a fraction of their original health, but DePaul, just a combination of going together and having their teammates back, doing an excellent job of just, you know, literally putting down the front loader on their bulldozer and just moving forward.
There's an average of $12,000 per player on DePaul. Just a little over, by the way. It's about $12,400. And RIT has $150 on Chutang, with $50 between Ningso and Legend. This is insane for DePaul, and they didn't even have to buy into this because of the fact that they kept everything over. Luckily for RIT, this is the final round of the half. Laffy and Ningso both finding one make sure this is certainly possible for them to come back from. The unfortunate part is they've dropped that A side, and because of it, there's no easy way back in for them. They can retake from CT and Donut. They also have a flank established from Get Wrecked. We've seen a flank set up before, but it's just not looked at the perfect time. Chris caught off guard because they were looking down the stairs, and Get Wrecked finds Sack because they thought A main was clear.
Great response from RIT so far, and it's now just Chris with the op, but Chris only needs the op, and he's doing an excellent job with that Tech 9. Takes out that 2v1, and Chris, an absolute monster from last season, along with the rest of the squad, able to close that out in that 2v1 clutch.
And the coordination there, once more for DePaul, as W, Tanner B mentioned in Twitch chat, they are a brand new squad. So RIT, I think spending a little bit more time throughout the season, we'll see improvements gradually. But this start really showing that DePaul are front runners to start things off, and UConn joining them in that same right indicates this season's looking pretty good to start things off.
An excellent job across the board for DePaul, just to kind of feel that. And the same thing is true here. You see Sack and Def both getting headshot kills, opening that up, and Chutang out on site, just kind of sitting there in no man's land. Not a lot of support coming from him. Does find a second headshot. Going to be able to get the bomb down behind Pillar, but Squaw already on the flank is going to find and Get Wrecked, and now he's going to go for that challenge. Oh, a little bit of tough then get Squaw, and in the background, Sack gets that knife kill as Chu tries to defend the bomb. So the good news, RIT gets a bomb down. The bad news, DePaul is getting their 14th round, which means RIT is going to have to force into the second round and try to pull out a miracle in order to bring this back.
No, so what RT is going to do here, and this is entirely satirical, by the way, this is not actually going to happen, is they're going to fully save and then just pull off a 13-round comeback. Now, I know that's not going to happen because they have more money than you usually have after a bomb plant, so they're going to buy here, as you mentioned. But it's still a question of what do you do with the buy, because it's 2 Galils and 3 MAC-10s up against pretty good rifles, and not only pretty good rifles, but an op. Because Sack got that knife kill, they can bring an op and full armor into this round. So a pretty good start to the half, if I do say so myself, for DePaul, of which they only need 2 more rounds to win.
Good trade to start off. A little bit, 1-1, getting that aggression from RIT out into the A side, but that off already from Sack. Breezy, DePaul just, the crosshairs being in the right place at the right time, able to just take that cross away from sight. RIT really struggling to find that, but this is Ancient. Still, even with it being in the rotation for as long as it has, is kind of an off pick for a lot. We saw that I think Ancient a whole of 3 times all of last season. So not something that we expect to see too frequently, but it's a tough map. There's a lot of things on there. It's like Overpass was, years ago.
I feel like the big note for DePaul here is also the fact that they knew it was maybe a pocket pick, and RIT being as new as they are, don't have as much prep on as many maps. So Ancient just wasn't included there, and because of it, well, DePaul wins 16-2 to open up map number 1 here. Convincing, to say the very least, yes. Concerning for RIT, a little bit, but DePaul really showing dominance to open things up, showing the fact that last season was not a mistake. They're victors for a reason.
Yeah, not missing a beat whatsoever. They're continuing the same dominance, the same play style, the same efficacy in their calling, doing an excellent job to make sure that they're opening the season on the terms that they ultimately want to see. So huge props to DePaul. Great job with the Ancient map pick. Obviously, very excited to see that. I'd love to see maps that aren't Mirage, Vertigo, and Inferno, which we see as often as anything. So huge excitement just to see like a little bit of variety and really test RIT in their debut at the EGFC.
Well, some unfortunate news for you there, Tyler. RIT's map pick is next, and it's Mirage. So get wrecked
Hey,
plus
first
L
time
plus
today,
ratio.
that's fine.
That's true. First time of the season as well. I haven't seen Mirage in a little while, so I'm not fully complaining. Just please don't pick a map if the team that played before you also picked the map. That's when we start to go, oh, come on, again. But Mirage, first map up for RIT, at least in terms of their picks. Hopefully it's also their first map win here in the EGFC. We'll find out after the break.
It's beautiful, it's bittersweet. You're like a broken home to me. I take a shot of memories and black out like an empty street. I fill my days with the way you walk and fill my nights with broken dreams. I make up lies inside my head like one day you'll come back to me. Now I'm not holding on, not holding on. I'm just depressed that you're gone. Not holding on, not holding on. Beautiful mistakes I make inside my head. She's naked in my bed, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. I wouldn't take them back. I'm in love with the past, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. In my head, in my bed, ay, making beautiful mistakes. In my head, in my bed, ay, making beautiful mistakes. Full, I can't believe how every day gets worse for me. I take a break, I cut you off to keep myself from looking slow. I fill my nights with the way you was and still wake up with broken dreams. I make these lies inside my head feel like they're my reality. Now I'm not holding on, not holding on. I'm just depressed that you're gone. Not holding on, not holding on. Beautiful mistakes I make inside my head. She's naked in my bed, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. I wouldn't take them back. I'm in love with the past, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. In my head, in my bed, ay, making beautiful mistakes. In my head, in my bed, ay, making beautiful mistakes. Na na na, na na na, na na na, ay, making beautiful mistakes. I caught it bad yesterday. You hit me with a call to your place. Ain't been out in a while anyway. Was hoping I could catch you throwing smiles in my face. Romantic talking, you don't even have to try. You're cute enough to play with me tonight. Looking at the table and I see the reason why. Baby, you live in the life, but baby, you ain't living right. Champagne and drinking with your friends. You live in the dark, but I cannot pretend. I'm not faced, only innocent. If being in your garden, you know that you can. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me in the morning, I'll be on the way. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me out by your name, I'll be on the way. Like, hey, hey, I wanna sell what you're buying. I wanna feel on your lips in Hawaii, yeah. I want the jet lag from playing and flying. Put a smile on your mouth while I'm diving. By me, the sign of the times every time that I speak. A dime and a nine, it was mine every week. What a time and inclined that was shining on me. Now I can't leave. And now I'm acting hella elite. Never want the bitches that's in my league. I only want the ones I envy, I envy. Champagne and drinking with your friends. You live in the dark, but I cannot.
Second map, a little bit more conventional here for RIT. The newcomers, the Counter-Strike side of EGFC, as Season 4 continues here in Week 1. DePaul, a convincing first map victory on Ancient, their own map pick, 16-2 the score there. RIT look to match it here on Mirage, and already have their smokes set up for an A take on the T side. I'm Time Delay, still joined alongside me is Viking, aka Tyler. And Tyler, coming into this, DePaul could probably use a pistol round victory here, but with only one player on the A side, it's not looking great.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing how they normally do in terms of the setup roughly. They've got somebody aggressively looking up cap. They're trying to get that information early because DePaul, of course, plays really aggressively. So they're already able to move somebody into Con Breezy, able to take that all the way back from spawn. RIT getting great presence onto the site. Oh no, the pistol. Chutang not able to pick one up as he goes there. Kind of runs off without it. It happens. So DePaul able to get 3-4 kills now. Sack able to finish that off after a noble attempt from Get Wrecked to make sure there's at least something on the board. The bomb does go down, so there's going to be a little extra cash, and it's going to be an opportunity for RIT to force if they choose to, or they can, of course, wait until round 3 and buy up a little bit more. So not a blowout of a round, not obviously the way that RIT wanted to start off their second map, but this is a fresh start. They still have the opportunity to turn this around and really show what they're made of.
You have to feel a little bit bad there. Just, you saw Chutang drop the Glock, try and grab the USP, but was blind while they did it. So they didn't realize they didn't actually retrieve the CT-sided pistol, and almost certainly died because of it. That early damage, costly in so many scenarios. On the bright side, RIT do get that bomb plant. This time around, they don't buy in the second round. Instead, it's just a few upgraded pistols, still perfectly able to buy in the following. The swing with the MP9, though, onto unarmored opponents. It is like fish in a barrel there for Squaw. A 1v5 for the Legend 45, of whom finds nothing. Really clean round from DePaul, exactly what they were looking for. Keep over all 3 of the rifles, both of their SMGs, a true bonus into the third round of play.
So now RIT has the opportunity to buy into those AKs, full utility, and we'll see what kind of strategy they bring into it. We didn't get a huge amount of information about how they like to play their T side just based on the last, but we see them spreading out a little bit over it, creating a little bit of information, an opportunity to kind of watch some of that aggression that they now know that DePaul is going to play through. So they're going to push up into this mid, try to get as much information as they can. DePaul likes to play those 3 people there, including Squad, who's running into under a little bit of trouble, but does end up coming down, taking out Ning So, and gets an AK for his trouble. So RIT sitting out in the middle of the mid area is going to be kind of tough because of all these people from all these different angles. Sack, Squad, Breezy, each getting a kill apiece. Def on the cleanup takes out Laffy. That is a difficult round for RIT, just kind of getting trapped in mid as they're waiting for smokes and people to present themselves. And it looks like a little bit of a breakdown of communication for Squaz. He was running underpass, gets that first kill into the B apartments, comes back, just comes as another angle of attack. So very difficult situation for RIT to be in that case.
And not only that, but they save over every single rifle this time around, with Squaw finding the kill around towards main and another death around towards A main itself, or one towards stairs, one towards A main. They retrieved said rifles with just MP9s required to pick them up. Nice shot across from Chutang. Headshot and a follow-up body shot onto Squaw means one of those 2 rifles is now dropped, and B is indeed the call. They do have to clear out Get Right, now the backside of Pillar, as it is Breezy to try and lock down the site, but there's now an AK on the other side of this. They can perfectly easily take this out, but Breezy with a swing and only 20 HP on Chutang. It's a triple from Breezy as they start to fully take the site. They have help from Catwalk now in a 1 versus 4 for Laffy. This is the first time a player has died on DePaul since the pistol round, yet it has no difference on the outcome of the round. Clean finish for Breezy and a clean round for DePaul again.
We're making progress here, is what we're saying. In the game itself, we'll see how these continue to come back and develop. There's still, with only 4 rounds, it's kind of difficult to see how these strategies are going to develop. And I'm kind of curious as to what RIT's adaptation is going to be. You did say, as you mentioned, I apologize earlier, I made a mistake in the teams I was thinking about. RIT is a pretty new squad, so we're going to see potentially some of those kind of new things to shake out a little bit in difference to what we saw from UConn. That being said, we just did see Get Wrecked get an opening kill, but Sack pushing out from A ramp is going to find the Legend going down early-ish in the round. We're now 30 seconds in. Not a lot of action going on there as RIT opts to play it much, much more slowly, trying to look for those one-on-ones and try to take those duels where possible, which could work out for them. So far, the rotation speed from DePaul is just so deadly. It's very difficult to move quickly without having them collapse in.
Now, looking at what we could see for Sack, the swing from Sandwich perfectly timed, and Chutang just caught off guard. The smoke setup was a little late, so they had to worry about 3 different angles rather than just the normal 2, and Sandwich wasn't really one of those required angles they had to worry about. Another 1 versus 4 for Ning So, and there's not all that much that RIT is doing incorrectly at this point. It is really just DePaul prepping so well for a lot of these rounds, and then building off that preparation with a little bit of superior gun skill and utility as a requisite for their victories. And RIT just don't have a response for it. There's still a full belt of utility on Ningso with 20 seconds left in the round, and at this point I think they're saving. They may try and go towards A, but Breezy here this little pixel angle. It's a save for Ningso, and they're going towards under, but they're gonna die because Def's here, just waiting for it. Headshot and death to Paul up 5-0.
I think on the RIT side, what I'd like to see is maybe just a little bit more control towards that mid area. Obviously, there's a lot to deal with there, but a good smoke into window, kind of leaving yourself open to check out Khan and Cat. Give an opportunity to just kind of force those 1v1s and put somebody underpass just to give yourself a little bit more presence, a little bit more protection. It does require, obviously, you win those one-on-one battles, as we see DePaul just moving incredibly fast up there. Chris finding the legend again, Def running up straight into mid, finds Get Wrecked and the bomb. Chutang able to answer that, so the bomb is going to be kind of safe, but Chris moving up already with the op. The flash works more in favor of DePaul than it did for RIT, and the double kill immediately. They're so fast on the draw. DePaul is incredibly scary.
They continue to be scary, not only from last season, but now into this one. No changes really in terms of their overall roster, a few here and there. I know a Demigod still listed as a sub, Squaw almost a little late to today, hence the reason we started a few minutes late. Car troubles, apparently, was the call. Don't let your cars overheat, kids. It's not good for its health, but nonetheless, it's still DePaul with aggression, regardless of their vehicular shortcomings. And Def making sure that continues to be the case. Already an opening kill. It was, what, 15 seconds in. They want to go into A, but Breezy's here to defend again, and it's just pistols across the board with Chutang the only difference in that scenario. Breezy will back away, takes a little bit of damage right off the bat, or almost did, should have in all fairness, but still locking things down. Does only find one kill. It's not really going to matter, though. The bomb will be planted, but it's a 3v2 on a retake with no rifles available for you for RIT.
The bomb down is a positive. They're sitting in the smoke. I mean, I don't think they're going to
No
expect
way!
Def. The sound cue, and I think just he probably, I think, was caught out by the other member of DePaul coming up from Cat. Probably just saw one of those pixels there. It's a tough situation to be in. I mean, you know that DePaul is just raining down on you from all sides. It's very difficult to get out of those and get to a better defensive setup. But RIT getting a bomb down is progress. You know, it's taken a little while to get to a point where that's been the case. So if they're able to take a little bit of what they just did there, replicate that again, and continue to find more success in that front. But now DePaul has multiple ops on the map, which is just terrifying in and of itself. But RIT, if they are able to pick up some of these executions and just deal with, you know, the flip side of DePaul's aggression is it also leaves them kind of out on an island oftentimes. So as long as they're prepared or expecting those types of things to happen, they can find them. That is not going to be the Chris. Chris finds Chutang and Laffy in their opening kills, and because of that smoke in Palace, that's just going to create all those one-on-one battles. And Chris with the 4K to close out that round, which is absolutely sick.
I didn't get this opportunity last round, but I don't get this opportunity very often, so I'm going to say it. Apologies, the Legend 45, but on the bright side, if James Bond is looking for some new actors, 007 at one point, decent candidate already. I'm sorry, but I don't get to say that very often. It's really just DePaul setting themselves up for success. I said this before, and I will probably say it a few more times before this game ends. It's DePaul prepping themselves for success, having good crossfires established, good gun skill, good game mechanics, and good utility usage. That's the real staples of the game, and all 5 of those staples are being brought to the forefront here for DePaul. There are not definitive mistakes they are making that RIT can say, hey, we can push off of this. We can really definitively say, this is how we can build back into this game. Breezy, maybe the only other side of that conversation, dying off rip, unnecessary aggression possibly costing them, and giving over a rifle to RIT could help, but they still have to find 4 more kills, and they've got, well, now 3 Deagles and an M4 to work with alongside that AK.
Uncharacteristically quiet at this point in the game. RIT just kind of edging up towards that A site, trying to find any level of information. Laffy kind of trapped in that mid area, knowing there's going to be somebody from DePaul, and Def, not expecting that, is going to lose his life in mid. That's going to give an opening to RIT to take that out. Legend able to take out Sack right off the bat, get wrecked. Apparently Deagles were the key to success for RIT here, as they find 2 one digs, and that's going to leave just Squaw with the op. Although we say just Squaw, this man is an absolute single man powerhouse. Although Chu Tang wins that gun battle against the op, takes out Squaw, and is going to pick up that op, which I feel like I've said a million times in the last 30 seconds because it's been the key focal point. And boy, isn't that great for them? That's going to give them a little bit more firepower, a little bit more opportunity, but hopefully it's not going to slow them down too much because as obviously as they get from that early round, we'll say caution into a very fast execute. That was an excellent work from RIT to get their first round on the board.
That Molotov you saw thrown into vents, by the way, that was meant to go into the backside of window for the window smoke that has now been thrown through, denying the information. Again, aggression here for DePaul, and I feel unnecessary. In the first 7 rounds, maybe even 8, it was DePaul waiting on site, RIT pushing into them, and getting cut down by crossfires. Now, it's DePaul getting a little over-aggressive and dying early in these rounds, really giving RIT a workable opportunity to establish control. Chu Tang a double on the site itself, really starting to propel them forward. Squad does get a refrag. So a 2v3 current situation here for DePaul to come back from, but the rotating through cat has been heard. Laffy there for the kill. It's Squall left alone in the second round in a row, this time a 1v3 rather than 5. Not looking good as they look to swing. Squaw hopping on the bomb, but they know dang well where he is. The smoke went a little bit too far, not as many opportunities for them to hide in the full radius of it, having to play on the close side of which was only minorly smoked. So, with RIT having the information and now a second round victory, they're starting to build an economy as well. We saw this from DePaul to open things up. It was RIT now to start to build some momentum and looking significantly better than they did in the previous map. Both of the round wins for them looked chaotic, to say the very least. Now, not only did they get a bomb plant and a save, but they followed it up with 2 back-to-back round victories with only 2 deaths between them, the first of which, well, it was a flawless round. The second, almost near it.
I like the way that RIT is kind of forced everything to slow down, and I think that that's where a place where they're obviously more comfortable. I mean, they've got 2 rounds on the board playing with this strategy as opposed to the previous 8 going in favor of DePaul. So the ability to kind of force DePaul to slow down and for RIT to be able to isolate some of these 1v1s that they were looking for is going to obviously benefit them. We see Chris take out, get wrecked. Oh no. Chu Tang doesn't check underpass and just miss what I think was maybe a pixel from Sack moving into the under scaffolding there. Very difficult position, but they're still relatively okay. I mean, they've got almost a minute left on the clock. It's 3v4. Squall playing a more defensive position on that B site might give them an opening if they decide to do that, but it does seem like RIT is trying to favor going back towards that A site. They've been doing that most of these rounds, I think probably 2/3 or more. So we'll see what they're doing to group up and make this work. But most of the DePaul players are still exactly where they see. And you saw Chris finding that first one. He's going to see those pixels. Sack takes out one. Chris takes out Legend off of A main. That's the bomb down. And that's going to be a very, very difficult situation for Ningso to even save his rifle at this point. Breezy catches his head off A main, and that's going to be the end of that round.
You know, for DePaul, there are a few scenarios here where I'm looking through a smoke or a dispersed nade or even a Molotov, and I'm saying, I have X-ray vision and I can barely see where some of these players are. DePaul looks through said dispersing smokes, nades, what have you, and can still apparently visibly see RIT. It's looking really good for them. Their vision good, their game sense better, and RIT at this point just does not have some of the mechanics to pick it up. And unfortunately, the coordination also not there. We talked about this earlier. They are one of the newer teams. Not entirely their fault. That'll come with time. But it needs to come sooner rather than later, because if DePaul's doing this early, later games may follow.
Yeah, I mean, they still have to contend with Marquette, and I'm very excited to see what happens when they go up against UConn after the performance that we just saw against Villanova. So lots of great things to talk about here. And going into the future, rather. But RIT's not out of this yet. They are able to find some of those angles. They're taking better control of mid. We're going to see Chu Tang get up there into window and take an aggressive position. It's going to find Chris. Laffy finds Sack. This is going all RIT's way. This is what they would have hoped to have seen in earlier rounds. But hey, round 13 or round 12, excuse me, is just as good as you're trying to just claw your way back. And set up for a really good CT side potentially.
Well, a quick note while we have a second. Some fun matchups coming up over the next couple weeks. DePaul takes on UConn next Friday at 8:10 p.m. That's one of the games we're really looking out for, considering DePaul's dominance here and UConn's in our previous matchup, as they took down Villanova. Marquette will play RIT in week number 3. That's the first game of the day, with Bowling Green and Villanova playing second that time around. Marquette will take on Nova, with RIT up against UConn, that being week 4. And I think the most anticipated matchups are Marquette versus UConn and Marquette versus DePaul, of which are first both week 5 and 6, the first 2 weeks of November. Oh, I'm not going to be able to do week... No! Marquette versus UConn, I'm doing Overwatch League Finals. No! I just realized that. That's unfortunate.
Hey,
Feels bad, man.
we'll miss you, but I'll carry the torch for you. So RT, third round on the board, doing great in terms of the momentum that they're picking up there. Hopefully they'll be able to continue this and find 3 more. We do have 1 player that left the server, which means we're probably looking at a pause here.
After this round, most likely. They should be able to do tech pauses. I believe we have that set.
We sure do.
Yay! I remember the time we didn't, and we were like, uh-oh.
Yeah, face it, it has pros and cons. Pros and cons. It is, however, a really difficult position for RIT to be in, considering they did such a great job in that first place. And Breezy, I guess, doing the sportsman-like thing to even it up and give them a chance.
I suppose. I don't... Wait. How the heck did Breezy die? What?
Molly.
I looked away for 2 seconds. Okay. I was like, wait, how did Breezy die? Unfortunate. But nonetheless, still a 4v4. And notably, Chutang comes back, so not all that much difficulty. They've apparently done 836 damage in this round. That's how much you do to yourself when you die and or leave the game. So note to self on that one. But DePaul, they still aren't aggressing all that much, given the fact that Breezy died early. And I think this is a little bit more responsible from them, considering what we've seen in previous rounds.
Yeah. Oh, I think did Legend see him? I think he's going. Yeah. So moving towards the B site for the first time in quite a while, they've already up cat, giving themselves some good efforts there. Squaw able to find that no scope. Oh, that's so devastating from the RIT side. They had so many people on that site, but just unable to connect. And that reinforcement from DePaul comes in so quickly and so heavily that they're able to keep everybody alive on the site for the most part, except for Squaw there in the end. And doing an excellent job. So we're going to take that time out a little retroactively, make sure that everybody is set and ready to go, and then we'll continue on in just a moment.
Yeah, alright, see, this is also probably a good thing that they called the timeout. I'm pretty sure they called it before the round ended in order for Chutang to get back into the lobby, but even then, you still call the timeout. You have 2 in a map, you might as well use the first in the first half when you have to use it. They lose this round, and DePaul do so fairly cleanly. Good rotation and good quick play. A little bit of luck off the back of the no-scope as well, as you mentioned. But RIT, at this point, need a round victory. They need momentum coming into the second half of play. On the defensive side, yeah, a little bit better. But DePaul's T-sides have looked so clean, not only in the previous iterations of the squad into last season, but as we saw back on Ancient, there wasn't anything they did wrong. And a 12-3 half would be so beneficial for them to push off of.
I would love to see more of what we had before, that kind of odd hiccup in terms of the disconnect. Again, RIT controlling the pace does an excellent job of forcing DePaul into maybe not something they're necessarily uncomfortable with, but not what they want to play. And while that doesn't necessarily guarantee any sort of offness to it, or kind of pushing them off kilter, but it does give a little bit more of a chance to RIT to kind of find their comfort zone. And obviously they found a little bit of success with that. So even if we end up in a situation where it's say like 11-4 or 10-5, not out of the question. RIT already, finding a little bit more purchase than they did on the previous map, which is great. So we'll see what happens when they come out of the timeout and what sort of strategy they have been able to discuss and ultimately choose to execute from the timeout.
So I'm tapping into Coach Tyler again because I have a relatively clean way of taking B site, but you've seen them have difficulties getting onto B. If you have full utility and you know you're in a full gun round, what is your go-to B take?
My go-to B take, I
Yes.
like playing contact B with a split up on cat. It's just, you want to get a little bit of, which we just saw from Chu Tang there. You got to get a little bit of a split so you have some attention and a little bit of diversion of resources.
Oh my
But
gosh.
that just over the smoke, that's so brutal. You get that con smoke is so important. You can be punished so much for that. As you obviously just saw there, that lineup for there is going to give them a little bit of cover potentially coming out of there. But DePaul feeling very confident in their defensive positions right now, having picked up a lot of information, but they do have multiple people in different places on the map. So RIT not fully committed to any particular place at this point in time. And that's going to give them the opportunity to move around. You see a movement of Cat. It's going to give them a little bit of flexibility towards B, but just pushing through that smoke. Def fans get wrecked, and that's going to take up one more vector of attack. Ningso goes down and ultimately all but seals this round for DePaul.
And Laffy doesn't have the bomb. It's a round towards T-spawn, of which is currently being watched by Sack. They'll get there and find out the bomb's there, and then DePaul will be right on their tail to try and watch it. Actually, they don't. They don't know the bomb is not in the pocket of Laffy, at least not as of right now. But Laffy's left alone in this 1v4, and on the A site, jumps over Tetris has now been seen and shot in the back of the head. DePaul will pick up their 11th, and RIT once more are cut down off the back of fairly strong defensive setups for DePaul. Again, for context, my go-to B take is you set up 2 smokes from the backside of B main, just outside of TV, and then you unload 4 flashes over top of the main roof.
Also
and
a very good one.
Hold W, because rush B, don't stop, is the greatest call. With a little bit of utility help. So it's not the full rush B, don't stop, but rush B, wait 14 seconds, and then don't stop.
Yeah, I really like that contact play because it, in a normal situation, at least gives a little bit of pause to the CT side as to what's happening. Great pick from Ningso there on Squaw. Squaw being obviously one of those dominated impact players that we've seen over the last couple of maps, doing an excellent job there. But RIT struggling to get out of apartment or out of Palace there. Excuse me. Sack takes out 2 before going down to Chu Tang, who in turn is taken by Def. They're just kills traded nonstop, and so Ningso's initial damage onto DePaul ultimately not going to make a difference in this round. Although, it's Chu Tang. Ningso. We've got an opportunity for them to 3v1 clutch, 1v3 clutch. No problem.
Unfortunately, not going to happen. Breezy will be the last person on DePaul to reach double digits in terms of kills, as DePaul will make it a 12-3 half. The EGF sees nothing if not consistent there, Tyler. Map number 1 of the day was 13-2 at the first half. Map number 2 was 12-3. And that's the same thing here in our second map and series of the day.
It's a new trend that we're starting out this year, just trying to really make that consistent viewer experience.
Hey, consistency's good. I don't like change. Appreciate it.
There we go.
Well, A-rush here for DePaul, at least prepped, smokes up and over. You can see stairs established, as is the cross. They will hold W out of Palace and A main. The split push working in droves, as they'll jump up on stairs as well. One has seen the other. I don't know if they're aware that either one is on that stairs position. Chu Tang with the dualies, trying to walk around that CT side, able to find a kill. But Chris, still up top on the stairs, has yet to be cleared out. A 2 versus 2, with Sack on the site specifically, finds the USP kill across, and Chu Tang in a 1 versus 2 with the dualies. Yeah, has 2 pistols, but only had about 2 HP, and DePaul will win the second half pistol. 13-3 now as they continue on their reign of terror.
I think that was a great effort by RIT on the defense. They're able to make something out of nothing, ultimately coming up short of the round, but still doing a pretty good job. Again, going back to Chu Tang, who's been sort of the impact player for RIT so far, obviously heads and shoulders above the rest of the team at this point in the map. But there's still plenty of time left for them to go. They see the pixels there. They are able to take out Laffy on the DePaul side. Laffy on the RIT by DePaul. DePaul will just kind of get around through that A ramp. And RIT being so focused on getting into Palace, they forget that there are 2 entrances to the site from that side. So DePaul, looking for another dominant round, goes in, takes advantage of the save. It's going to make this potentially set up for a 15-3 scoreline here.
Unfortunately, I think that's what's going to happen. 15-3 looking fairly good because of the fact that it's mostly rifles bought up in that round by T'Pol rather than mostly SMGs as you usually see. And that's mainly off of the fact that they picked up the bomb plant in that first round of play. They're prepping another A-take. There are 2 players on the other side of this. They have to walk straight through a smoke. And with a FAMAS on the other side, there's a first there for Laffy. On the backside of Triple, unfortunately they'll fall. The backside of Default, my apologies, they will fall. A 2-for-2 trade though, not the worst thing in the world. Get Wrecked retrieves an M4 as well. RIT are still well and truly in this round.
Absolutely, and it's really going to be how they play around that smoke. There is a little bit of a gap there that's going to give Chutang an opportunity to do a little bit of damage, not enough to take a player off of the board, but something to maybe make an impact. So RIT now looking at this situation where they've got to play all these different angles. They do find Sack on that, but immediately shredded out by Breezy. Both of these players on Tetris, they're going to have a sense of where it is. Chutang able to find the first, going for that 3rd kill in the round.
The smoke went
Get
too
up
far.
on box, bud. You got this.
Tried. Unfortunately, with the smoke going too far, I don't know if they have enough time. They do have a defuse kit. Yep, they will have enough time. And RIT able to find that final kill. I was looking at that and I was saying the smoke went too far. And if they didn't play as aggressive as they did, they would have lost the round. Because you could just play that corner as quickly as you please. Quick shoulder peek, figure out if they're still in the diffuser. Luckily, the 2v1 worked out. But that was narrowly bad for DePaul, or narrowly bad for RIT. Could have been worse, but a round victory nonetheless. Now they have to go into yet another full gun round, but it's full AKs and utility on the DePaul side. They still have to hold on to that scout and a few extra rifles with concessions and utility, and only 2 defuse kits as well.
Oh, that information is going to come through DePaul aggressively going towards that B side towards Cat. You're going to see that 1-for-1 trade, Chutang and Sack.
Gosh.
Sack getting the 2-for-1, going to take over that B side bomb coming aggressively through apartments. You got Get right there with just a scout. Going to wish that this was an off as he goes for it, but he does a ton of damage to Def. That's going to make a difference in the round as they try to figure everything out. Chris just narrowly with the wrong nade at the wrong time. Going to push through, finds Get Wrecked and a second in the legend. This is going to be another round for DePaul unless Laffy can pull out a miracle, and he's got the first out of 4 that he needs for the. Well,
yeah, no, unfortunate.
You know what?
I'm trying this. Unfortunate. It was a 1v4. I don't know if they were going to push for that. There isn't all that much money either way there for RIT, and I didn't think DePaul was going to let him save the M4 regardless of whether they decided to push or not. But it's DePaul with another round victory. They do have to buy up 2 more rifles, but they can do so relatively cleanly. RIT, on the other hand, buy up as much as you can. You're facing map and match point by a fairly large margin. This is just not looking all that good for RIT, and Laffy forgot that it was last round because they only bought a 5-7. No armor, no utility.
First 5, Def comes out, takes things so out. Get Wrecked is going to find another one with a Deagle. Breezy is going to trade him out for his efforts. DePaul going to go for that B bomb plan, and RIT is going to try whatever they can, coming from apartments primarily. They do indeed. There is at least 1 M4 on the player, and as Chu goes down to Chris. They may not expect the second player in apartments, but they do seem to have a little bit of an instance there. Chris is going to jump up and find them there. Almost final kill. Legend takes another 1v1, but Def, unfortunately for RIT, able to find that last kill, and DePaul seals it 16-4, taking both maps in this best of 2 series.
And 16-4, 16-2 in no particular order between the 2 maps. Even with Mirage, RIT really put out of position in a lot of these scenarios, and it was DePaul not only setting themselves up for success when they started off on the attacking side the previous map, but here on the defense to really kick things off. It looked clean. Their crossfires were good. They didn't get over aggressive early. They did a little later on, hence the reason that RIT were able to get to 3 rounds in that first half. But it was really DePaul prepping themselves well and pushing off of it even better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw, I think, some bright spots from RIT in those moments, especially Chutang doing an excellent job in specific moments, getting multi-kills, doing an excellent job, where you could have an impact. Unfortunately, the rest of the team just not able to kind of click into that rhythm that we've seen, from other teams as they've started out. But as we saw many times last season, this is just the first week. There are 16 weeks in the season, plenty of time to practice, to overcome, to, kind of think through some of the strategies. But at the same time, it's really difficult to come up against the reigning league champions in your first week, especially as a new squad. So we're very excited to have everybody here with us. We're excited to do that We're going to have one more game this evening. It's going to be Weber State versus Bowling Green when we come back. But first, we're going to see if we can get a player from DePaul in for an interview. So we're going to throw it to a break, and we'll be right back.
Where are you now? Where are you now? Hey, it's been too long. You're just like my favorite song going round around my head. Like my favorite song going round around my head. You're just like my favorite song going round around my head. Like my favorite song going round around my head. Some days I can feel it, but the feeling ain't all blue. You got me believe it, one day you gotta come through. Lost in the city lights, 'cause I can't sleep tonight. Where are you now? Where are you now? Hey, it's been too long to call my love. Where did we go wrong? Too late to turn around. Where are you now? Where are you now? Hey, it's been too long. You're just like my favorite song going round around my head. Like my favorite song going round around my head. You're just like my favorite song going round around my head. Like my favorite song going round around my head.
When the days are cold and the cards all fold and the saints we see are all made of gold. When your dreams all fail and the ones we hail are the worst of all and the blood runs stale. I wanna hide the truth, I wanna shelter you, but with the beast inside, there's nowhere we can hide. No matter what we breed, we are still made of greed. This is my kingdom come, this is my kingdom come. When you feel my heat, look into my eyes. It's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. Don't get too close, it's dark inside. It's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. When you feel my heat, look into my eyes. It's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. Don't get too close, it's dark inside. It's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. Curtains call, it's the last of all. When the lights fade out and the sinners crawl, so they dug your grave and the masquerade will come crawling out at the mess you've made. Don't wanna let you down, but I am hellbound. Through this is all for you. Don't wanna hide the truth. No matter what we breed, we are still made of greed. This is my kingdom come, this is my kingdom come. When you feel my heat, look into my eyes. It's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. Don't get too close, it's dark inside. It's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. When you feel my heat, look into my eyes. It's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. Don't get too close, it's dark inside. It's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. When you feel my heat, look into my eyes. It's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. Don't get too close, it's dark inside. It's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide.
You are the shadow to my light. Did you feel us? Another start, you fade away. Afraid our aim is out of sight. Wanna see us alive? Where are you now?
Another convincing victory. This time it's DePaul's reign of dominance over top of RIT as they kick things off with a victory on Time to Light. That's Tyler, and down below us again, unfortunately no camera, but Def joining us not only in terms of the EGFC as a whole, but in for the interview. Def, first thing, how do you feel joining up with a new team who's already really freaking good, and then you're really freaking gooder?
Honestly, it feels excellent. I had a chance to play with them before the tryouts that we had in the university, so I get to know the guys, and I get to play with them before we actually started practicing. So it feels pretty good.
It's great to hear. And obviously, DePaul was top of the table last year behind only Colorado, reigning championships coming into this. So, obviously, there's a pretty good culture of winning there and certainly of dominance coming into it. As you said, you're starting to get into that practice. Can you talk a little bit about your experience coming into it, what it was like to make that adaptation, and what it's meant to be a part of the team so far?
Mm, I can't even describe how I would say. I wouldn't say. Yeah, I'm very honored to be on the team. I worked very hard to get to the level that I am at right now. So getting to know the people that are playing very good, getting to play with people that are play very good feels amazing. And honestly, I can't. I'm speechless, to be honest. I'm just speechless. Very good guys, very good players. They know what they're doing. It's just a pleasure to play with them.
Oh, absolutely. I love it. And can you tell me a little bit about your background? Obviously, new player coming into it, joining the squad. We've established that already, but what's your background and how did you come to be on the team?
Uh, honestly, I've wanted to be on the team for a very long time. I have been in a couple teams before, but mostly with my friends. I have attended a couple tournaments. Uh, I would say everything is for that feeling of winning. Because when you win something, it just feels amazing. So, what is the best way to to win if not with the best team out there, right?
Absolutely. And last question before I give it over to you, Dan. I mean, one of the things that we've noted with DePaul, and this has gone back to the beginning of last season, is you have as a squad this ability to kind of turn on the speed as you want to. We saw a lot of aggression throughout this. So as you kind of were talking about your strategy internally about, obviously you picked an ancient for the first map coming into a Mirage. That's a classic. Can you talk about a little of your approach to those maps and given that RIT is a very new squad coming into this, did you do any background in this, or was there a particular strategy that you were trying to play?
Uh, I think we just played the regular game. We didn't do any special preparations for this. We prepared Ancient, but not specifically for them. We had played Ancient before. This is one of our strong maps, as well as Mirage. I think, as the guys told me. I mean, Mirage is like a regular map to play. Everybody plays Mirage, or most of the teams play Mirage. So we didn't do any background check on them. We just played our best game.
Didn't even phone up the feds, say, hey, how's RIT been lately? No background checks in that
No,
way. No,
no,
no.
nothing like that. No.
Well, into not only this series but into the season, I detect a little bit of an accent that is not particularly American. So as soon as I figured that out, I was like, hey, I wonder where Def's from. So I totally didn't check your Facebook profile, but uh, coming from what I believe is Latvia, please correct me if I'm
Mhm.
incorrect,
Yep.
but
Yep.
coming into America from a completely foreign country, what's it like to be in a different atmosphere, not only for collegiate, but maybe for esports as a whole?
I would say it's a new sphere for me because in Latvia, I don't think we have anything close to collegiate. I mean, I haven't been to university, so I wouldn't know. But I had played a couple school tournaments, but we don't have anything like that as far as I know. Uh, Again, it just feels different. Just all those people, all those teams that we have to play. I'm just very excited.
Well, speaking of the teams you have to play, a final question for you. Is there anybody you're excited to play throughout? Because we've noted Marquette is one of the teams that a lot of people are looking forward to, considering how good they looked. Most of the time, you and DePaul as a whole are another team that everybody's looking forward to because of how well you played the previous season, the consistent roster you brought forward, and apparently the new imported talent, that being you yourself. Is there anybody you are looking to play with, or in this case, against?
Um, I'm not sure if the team that I'm going to talk about is playing in the collegiate because I don't have very much information of
Okay.
which teams, which teams we're gonna play. So I just wanted to play any good teams that are out there that had some previous achievements in any tournaments. I just enjoy the good game. If I'm playing against a better opponent, it just feels, even if we lose, God forbid, if you play against better players, it just feels different. So I think, I'm not sure if we're going to play them. I just wanted to play Davenport.
Davenport.
that
They
will be
are not
will
in
be
the
an option.
EGF, so you may have to go to. I believe they either play in NACE or sometimes in ESEA. I totally suggest if you guys are not already there, go play ESEA because significantly.
Maybe you are. Maybe
Hey,
we
or
are.
Face It League, Dan.
No, Face It and ESEA are the same thing now because ESL and Face It merged. I can say
All
good
right.
things. Ah.
Okay,
Anyway,
fine. I'll give it. All
well,
right, cool.
Def, before we let you go, any final words, any final thoughts, anybody you want to shout out, no matter who it may be, the floor is yours.
I just wanted to thank you, all the guys from the team, Chris, Angel, Vito, Alex. They're all very nice guys. It's a pleasure to play with them, and I'm looking forward to play with them more.
Well, a good culture and a fairly good squad at that leads to more and more success. Good luck not only in the future, but congratulations from your victory to open up EGFC Season 4. Def, thank you so much for joining us, but we have one more series left over between Weber State and Bowling Green State. When we come back, our final best of 2 of the night. We'll see you then.
It's beautiful, it's bittersweet, you're like a broken home to me. I take a shot of memories and black out like an empty street. I fill my days with the way you walk and fill my nights with broken dreams. I make up lies inside my head like one day you'll come back to me. Now I'm not holding on, not holding on. I'm just depressed that you're gone. Not holding on, not holding on. Beautiful mistakes I make inside my head. She's naked in my bed, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. I wouldn't take 'em back. I'm in love break, I cut you off to keep myself from looking soft. I fill my nights with the way you was and still wake up with broken dreams. I make these lies inside my head feel like they're my reality. Now I'm not holding on, not holding on. I'm just a that you're gone. Not holding on, not holding on. Beautiful mistakes I make inside my head. She's naked in my bed, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. I wouldn't take them back. I'm in love with the past, and now we lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. In my head, in my bed, making beautiful mistakes. In my head, in my bed, making beautiful mistakes. Making beautiful mistakes. I caught it bad yesterday. You hit me with a call to your place. Ain't been out in a while anyway. Was hoping I could catch you throwing smiles in my face. Romantic talking, you don't even have to try. You're cute enough to play with me tonight. Looking at the table and I see the reason why. Baby, you live in the life, but baby, you ain't living right. Champagne and drinking with your friends. You live in the dark, but I cannot pretend. I'm not faced, only innocent. If being in your garden, you know that you can. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me in the morning, I'll be on the way. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me up by your name, I'll be on the way. Like I wanna sell what you're buying. I wanna feel on your lips in Hawaii. I want the jet lag from playing and flying. Put a smile on your mouth while I'm driving. Funny, the sign of the times every time that I speak. A dime and a nine, it was mine every week. What a time and it's blind that was shining on me. Now I can't leave. And now I'm acting hella elite. Never want the bitches that's in my league. I only want the ones I envy. I envy. Champagne and drinking with your friends. You live in the dark, but I cannot pretend. I'm not faced, only innocent. If being in your garden, you know that you can. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me in the morning, I'll be on the way. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me up by your name, I'll be on the way. Like, call me by your name and tell me you love me in private. Call me by your name. I do not care if you're lying. When you want me, call me, I'll drop everything. Don't need your name, cause I don't have to say it. Fuck it, let's ride. Fuck it, let's ride. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me in the morning, I'll be on the way. Call me when you want, call me when you need. Call me up by your name, I'll be on the way. Like I just need to get it off my chest. Yeah, more than you know. Yeah, more than you know. You should know it, baby, you're the best. Yeah, more than you know. Yeah, more than you know. I saw it coming from miles away. I better speak up if I got something to say. 'Cause it ain't over until she thinks. You had your reasons, you had a few, but you know that I would go anywhere for you. 'Cause it ain't over until she thinks. I just need to get it off my morning. The air was hot from summer rain, sweat dripping off me. Before I even knew her name, la la la. It felt like ooh la la la, yeah. Oh, sapphire moonlight. We danced for hours in the sand, tequila sunrise. Her body fit right in my hands, la la la.
Cause you know it's been a long time coming, don't you let me fall.
Oh, how your lips undress me, hooked on your tongue. Oh, Lord, your kisses deadly, don't stop. I love it when you call me señorita. I wish I could pretend I didn't need you, but every touch is ooh la la la. It's true la la la. Oh, I should be running. Oh, you know I love it when you call me señorita. I wish it wasn't so damn hard to leave ya, but every touch is ooh la la la. It's true la la la. Oh, I should be running. Oh, you keep me coming for ya.
Call my name, I'll be coming for ya.
On my way, bonafide stallion. Ain't in no stable, no, you're staying on the run. Ain't on the side, you're number one. Yeah, every time I come around, you get it done. 50-50, love the way you split it. Hide your ex, help me spend it, babe. Light a match, get it lit, it, babe. The jet set, watch the sunset, kinda. Yeah, yeah. Rolling eyes back in my head, make my toes curl, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you got that yummy, yum, that yummy, yum, that yummy, yummy. Yeah, you got that yummy, yum, that yummy, yum, that yummy. Say the word on my way, yeah, babe, yeah, babe, yeah, babe. Any night, any day. Say the word on my way, yeah, babe, yeah, babe, yeah, babe. In the morning or the late. Say the word on my way, standing up, keep me on the rise. Lost control of myself, I'm compromised. You're incriminating, no disguise. You ain't never running low on supplies. Split it, to love the way you split it. How'd your ex help me spend it, babe? Light a match, get it lit, it, babe. The chat said, watch the sunset, kinda. Yeah, yeah. Rolling eyes back in my head, make my toes curl, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you got that. Yeah, you got that. 50-50, love the way you split it. Love the way you split it. How'd your ex help me spend it, babe? Light a match, get it lit, it, babe. The jet set, watch the sunset, kinda. Yeah, yeah. Rolling eyes back in my head, make my toes curl, yeah, yeah. On my way, bonafide stallion. Ain't in no stable, no, you're staying on the run. Ain't on the side, you're number one. Yeah, every time I come around, you get it done. 50-50, love the way you split it. How'd your ex help me spend it, babe? Light a match, get it lit, it, babe. The jet set, watch the sunset, kinda. Yeah, yeah. Rolling eyes back in my head, make my toes curl, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you got that yummy, yum, that yummy, yum, that yummy, yummy. Yeah, you got that yummy, yum, that yummy, yum, that yummy. Say the word on my way, yeah, babe, yeah, babe, yeah, babe. Any night, any day. Say the word on my way, yeah, babe, yeah, babe, yeah, babe. In the morning or the late. Say the word on my way, standing up, keep me on the rise. Lost control of myself, I'm compromised. You're incriminating, no disguise. You ain't never running low on supplies. Split it, to love the way you split it. How'd your ex help me spend it, babe? Light a match, get it lit, it, babe. The chat said, watch the sunset, kinda. Yeah, yeah. Rolling eyes back in my head, make my toes curl, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you got that. Yeah, you got that. 50-50, love the way you split it. Love the way you split
Some unfortunate bad news, but something that has to be addressed. Weber State will indeed win 2-0, Bowling Green an unfortunate forfeit here in week number 1, but it does give us a little bit of an earlier opportunity to talk about Valorant coming up tomorrow. In our opinion, the lesser of the two first-person shooters in terms of tactical. I like Valorant in terms of watching. I hate it in terms of playing, and it's vice versa in terms of Counter-Strike. Sometimes I'm more of a preference to casting either way. Anyway, we have that tomorrow, twitch.tv/official EGF and twitch.tv/official EGF3 at 1 p.m. Eastern. It is on the main stream, University of Delaware taking on William and Mary, and on the B stream, where I will be, if you want to hear me talk about video games more, the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga taking on St. John's University. Either way, if you want to watch any of it or you don't, I'm letting you know anyway, twitch.tv/official EGF and official EGF3. But for tonight, we are done. Thank you ever so much for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow.
Sometimes I